could work out okay.
I do think it could work out okay,
like
Sam.
you're to the right of you know,
the U.S. killed.
Oh, sorry, is the producer of the show showing her results on ChatGPT that are happening back and forth here in real time?
And free buses.
My God. Regular Mussolini over here.
That's why you see the Persians, especially the Persian Jews, being so loud in America right now.
How is the supercut still going?
It wasn't necessarily our parents or our grandparents or our great.
Is it going to be like 20 people to get the points? Okay, finally.
Grandparents with the Holocaust. This was us. Like, I lived that. My parents lived that. We escaped that.
So what is the red? Who's red and who's green?
So basically, it's the Islamists joining hands with the communists.
There are numerous.
Yeah. I was just like, if I was behind the scenes watching this, because you'd have I don't know what they're using, right? Like Discord or Skype or something, or, you know, whatever in the corner. And then you have to sit there and just like, oh my God, she's going with this. All right, there's the supercut.
Clips like this, Sam. And it's okay if you don't agree. It's okay if you want to attack it.
What was the name of that first woman on the street?
I don't know. An Iranian protester in the street. One of many. I can give you many different sites if you like. I can pull up different posts.
Yeah, you sick fuck.
What is the argument that
here's
that
the argument.
in offering free buses that's not the argument is like the Ayatollah?
He hasn't finished.
You're more than welcome, by the way,
a quarter of a
to
sentence.
have that argument with me. But the fact is,
let's not talk about let's have that argument. Well, explain to me.
Here's their argument.
What communist things that Mamdani has
graphic number 3, guys. These are the parallels.
No, wait. Let's just
you're asking the parallels. I'm telling you what they're citing.
What communist policy?
I've never seen someone be so over and underprepared at the same time. Oh, we'll get to that, Sam. Show them graphic number 6. And yeah, that's not related at all to what we're talking about. Right, you would say that, which is why I prepared this one. Show them graphic number 9. That's a picture of Ronald McDonald. What are we doing?
See, has Mamdani proposed?
This is what they are citing, Sam. What they are saying is that the parallels.
What Islamist policies? Answer
Sam, he's a Muslim, correct? He's a Muslim, correct? And this is, you're saying, I'd like to know what they're comparing. I'm telling you, guys.
See, this right here is why you can't jump out of the gates with identity politics. She tried to accuse him of being a homophobe. That was her opening move, by the way. Sam, I mean, here, we got some quotes from you. I want to hear your reaction when we play them back. And then he's like, okay. And now we're immediately pivoting to, well, I mean, you know, I think that it's pretty clear that Mamdani was going to basically fulfill the prophecy of the Ayatollah Khomeini that was, stated 47 years ago. Sorry, what are you basing that on? Oh, I mean, there's overwhelming amounts of evidence. I mean, roll the tape. And the tape is people speaking on the street or her interviews from her show or Glenn Beck's show. And then she's like, I bet you feel pretty embarrassed now, don't you? It's like, okay, well, how about we just have a conversation then? What exactly about his policies do you find communist? He's a Muslim. Is he not a Muslim, Sam? Are you going to deny he's a Muslim? Looks like I got a pretty big debate point, y'all.
I'm asking you right now, what communists? Let's argue the validity of these points.
I'm fine having you come on to talk about that, but what's not okay is you calling me an idiot saying it didn't happen.
No, I do.
It did happen. And all you have to do is Google it.
The judgment is still reserved. Yes, you can find a random person on the street.
Sam, I showed you numerous clips. Guys, graphic 2.
She's doing it again. Wow, I can't even do bits about this because she's just going to do it in real time. But also, okay, so when providing evidence of something, if you have a surplus of stuff unrelated to evidence, it doesn't matter how much you have, right? Like, if I was trying to prove the world is flat and I showed you 10 clips of people being like, the world is flat, I haven't proved anything. And then I'm like, yeah, but like, that's just a random series of people saying a thing on the street. Is it? Show him number 7. Look at this. Iranian diaspora critics voiced doubts over Mamdani as New York mayor. Some critics in Iran's diaspora expressing criticism about Zohran Mamdani, the Muslim self-described Democrat socialist frontrunner, and this is highlighted, even likening his populist vision to the Ayatollah Khomeini's 1979 Islamic Revolution. Yeah, so I don't know if your team's illiterate, or maybe Jillian is. You're proving his point. This is not a quote by Zohran Mamdani. This is once again the opinion of random people. Sam, the opinions of random people is overwhelming. Do you know how many random people have opinions? Are you not going to address that?
Graphic 4, graphic 3. Give me any one of these.
Slow down. Slow down. These are amazing. What is graphic 3? It seems to be a series of memes. Mamdani versus Khomeini. Different century. Same lies. Look at this. Free housing. Free housing. Free buses and public transit. Free buses and public transit. I didn't know this. Khomeini offered all of this? Like, these were all policies of Ayatollah Khomeini. Was free healthcare, jobs for everyone, free education, cheap food for everyone, justice for the oppressed, claimed imperialists and capitalists, blames colonizers and landlords. You don't even have the courage to source your meme here, by the way. She's like, example, evidence, and it's like, what is this one? Like, who's posting this? Like, I think that would probably help your case, right? Who made this? Otherwise, it's just random internet gibberish, isn't it? Sam, explain this. Explain what this means.
You're avoiding the actual
I'm not
point
avoiding
here.
the question, Sam.
Yes.
If we were going...
There is no doubt the Iranian diaspora, they also told us that the Iranian government would fall. They also encouraged a war attacking Iran. Not all of the diaspora, but certainly large elements of it. So their credibility, let's talk about the actual issue that you're out there saying that,
okay,
Mamdani
I'll give you an example
like
of something that concerns
Mamdani
me.
is a communist.
Here's something that concerns me.
Give me one
I'll
example.
give you an example. Here's a perfect example, okay? There's a video, and I can drop it in, I can send it to you, of Mamdani at a mosque, seeming perfectly lovely, ringing in the new year at a mosque for the first time.
Okay.
He gets off stage, and they swiftly call for death to the infidels. That freaks me out.
Even in your example, which may or may not exist, you have to show him offline. It doesn't involve Mamdani. It involves his supporters. How do you not understand that? Even if true, in good faith. It's important, by the way, when you're debating, you have to be very good faith. So, in the best of faith here, your example that you're providing. This is amazing. It's only been like 13 minutes.
We pray daily for your success in this journey, inshallah. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to read out what the translation says to see just how insidious this truly is, okay? This prayer. And support you against your enemies. And among those who are martyred before you, among the ranks of your loyal ones. Edited, but it's jump cutting to, through your hands comes the relief for the believers. And the killing of the infidels by your sword.
Like, I'm sorry.
Who does?
I have the button. I wonder how many times he's like wanting to use it.
Pause it.
The exact imam, he gets off stage, and the guy immediately says a prayer that calls for death to the infidels by the sword. That freaks me out, Sam. It freaks me out,
and so
dude.
that's your evidence that Mamdani is an Islam.
Yeah, and that's also wild. It's like, okay, explore that. Unpack that. What about that sentence is particularly frightening to you, and why does the act of saying it scare you? Maybe that would be more important, I think, for personal growth than saying these are literal things that Zohran Mamdani said. And it's like, so this is your best example, is that he was at an event where after he was finished speaking, there was a prayer, and the prayer scared you, and because Muslims scary, that's terrifying. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been in power long enough now for everyone, I assume, to realize he isn't interested in doing all the racist things they said he wanted to do. Like, he's not doing 9/11 too. He hasn't, announced a jihad on, Chick-fil-A. There's absolutely no mass persecution, specifically of Jewish people in New York right now, as being done as part of his, again, horrifying regime. Like, none of these things came to pass. It was actually the exact opposite. All the lovely stuff that came to pass was actually pretty darling to see. Like, just being like, hey, by the way, one of the first things I want to do is introduce universal childcare for people with children as young as 2. Like, that's going to be life-changing for so many goddamn families. And then, asking New Yorkers to help when they were having, a record snowstorm, and doing so by actually paying them a living wage to help them out. And then there's now his policy to go after effectively landlords who are becoming, slumlords and destroying the quality of life for everybody in the city. All the things like, for the amount of fear-mongering about Zoran to see what he's actually pulling off in the other direction, it's to the degree of a cartoonish Disney musical. There's so many times when I'm expecting a little bird to fly off Miss Rachel's shoulder, and a dove to perch upon Zoran, and they just break into song, because what the fuck is this? I'm so used to watching politicians almost have an unspoken hatred for their constituents. It's not said out loud, but there's just a condescension there. I got mine, and now I just got to get on my kickbacks from the oil and gas lobby until I retire. That kind of shit. That's what it feels like so often. So to see something else, it's so refreshing, to the point, again, it almost doesn't seem real. It's cartoonish in how ridiculous it is compared to the alternative. Eric fucking Adams? Now that you have the case study, it's okay, so Zoran Mamdani was going to come to power. He was going to do 9/11 too. He was going to do all these horrifying things. That didn't happen. So now you can probably start to realize that you were just in a racist bubble this whole time, right? How are you still doing this at this point in the story?
Sam,
this is harkens back to when Barack Obama was a member of the Weather Underground because of Bill Ayers, or because of
he's a Muslim,
his reverend.
Okay, he's sworn on the Quran. He's a self-proclaimed Muslim, which is totally fine, but he has some radical positions.
Are you aware of what's in the Old Testament, in the Torah?
Sam, I've actually had scholars on to compare both texts. And if we talk about a religious war and a jihad, it's confined in the Old Testament to the Canaanites. And that's because they were sacrificing babies. So it's not an ongoing holy war or jihad. And I'm not saying that that's what Mamdani is recommending.
Oh, you're not?
Sam, you...
Well, fuck the Canaanites, am I right?
Only got caught in a lie just now, and there are so many others
that I got caught.
Well, you claimed I was an idiot and it wasn't happening, but it is happening.
I think we haven't resolved that.
All right. Well, how about this one? How about
this
one? There's so many of these, but buckle up. So, SOT number 5 is Anna Kasparian. We're gonna pull that up in a second. And Amy Dangerfield.
Play when you stormed off your show with her.
Actually, I am. I am, because here's your claim, right? Your claim is that I get paid to defend Israel. I'm more than happy to give you the exact same offer that PBD gave Tucker. We can hire independent accountants. They can go through our finances. It's never happened. I have no problem doing that if you want to take me up on it at any point.
I don't know if we literally meant that you actually get paid from the Israeli government, but I think clearly, you have an audience where you need to suggest
how many people have I had on from the other
a
position?
Radical Islamist. And you're
really? Do you want to see
promoting the Israeli line dramatically, and that's your business.
I've had Dave Smith on twice. James Lee and I have spoken twice.
I don't know who that is, but
you've had Dave Smith on twice. What was that evidence of? Let's look up Dave Smith. Apparently, he is a individual who should be respected for his anti-Zionist positions. Dave Smith recently doing shows with Nick Fuentes. This Dave Smith. Yeah, so that was his last guest, actually. He's doing a show with Nick Fuentes. Oh, they look happy. Yeah, they're having a good time. Yeah, oh, look at that. Yeah, lots to talk about, right? Yeah, opinions. Don't yeah, and don't you hate women and hate their bodies and all that? And don't you sometimes wish that you could be just more than friends, you know, with like your guy friends? Like what if your guy friends were like more than friends? You know, I'm talking like in a gay way and none of that. I'm just saying, like, why do we have to have marriages with women specifically, right? Like, I'm not saying like we have to be gay necessarily with other men, like have gay sex with them, but I'm just saying the options seem kind of like strict. Yep. What? So yeah, I don't know if Dave Smith is someone to brag about when it comes to this shit.
That's great.
He's very pro-Palestine. We had a full episode with Crystal Ball coming out on her take.
Okay.
I'm the one who got Anna Kasparian that job on her take.
Oh.
And the issue was not about Israel versus Palestine. And in fact, I've had Cenk Uygur on to talk to me about it as well. And I can even drop a clip in here where we're on Peers and I'm saying, I've learned a lot from you on this subject matter. Having said that, the debate on her take was not me being uncomfortable debating, because there was no debate, because they both agreed with me.
Laterally across the board now, we've got multiple accusations that all pile up to the same exact...
I think it's the furries. It's the furries. I think it's the furries. A lot of people...
I don't know, and I don't... Look,
for those who are saying...
evidence to suggest none.
Okay, you're saying...
Guys, can we just stop for a second? This is ridiculous. This is absurd. Like, this whole thing is ridiculous. There are two things being conflated right now. There are conspiracy theorists who think Israel killed Charlie Kirk. They have yet to provide a shred of evidence proving that. Done. End of story.
We're not talking about that.
I am talking about something entirely different.
Talking about that.
No, we're not. Hold on. Let me finish my fucking thought. Okay? The real issue here is that before most people even knew that Charlie Kirk was
Jillian,
dead,
honestly,
you have
do I have to
Netanyahu
sit
giving
through
more...
I'm going to talk to you about issues.
All right.
It's going to be about
Let's do...
Yeah, he got bored. That was 17 minutes in. To be fair, though, it is pretty obnoxious to bring someone on and be like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that I won't interact with you and that I've been running from this, but here I am, so here we go. And a little preamble, play the clip. It's like, okay, keep watching all these goddamn clips. They don't exemplify the thing you think they do. And that's wild because you're in a lot of them.
I'm
Let's
very
not
sorry.
it, Sam.
And I apologize and I'll go. But
Sam,
if we're going to talk about issues, let's talk about it. I don't care. I'm willing to stipulate.
All right, let's do another lie that's right
person.
here. Let's do this one.
I'm mean to you.
Let's do this
and all
one.
of that.
All right,
I've
let's do one in the
stipulated it.
wheelhouse.
Now let's talk about issues.
Shall we? Can we do the trans kids? Because you have a crazy lie about that
Can we do
one.
the trans
Let's
kids?
start with what you suggested to my producer.
Okay,
what does Sam want to talk about?
The turf
Let's
comment.
talk about the only thing that I actually care about and discussing
I went
with
over
you.
all this with your producer.
All of your whining and crying about how
want me to drop
mean
it
we've been
in?
to you and how we called you a name
Sam,
and this and that.
you're
I'm
a
very
liar.
sorry about that. I accept
I'm
all
gonna bust you in so many lies.
Liar.
Okay.
There you go.
Here we go.
Let's talk about issues
SOT
like
number 7.
grown-ups.
Let's do SOT number 7.
I'd also say that organic-y type of thing that she represents, it'd be catastrophic. There's an article in Foreign Policy Magazine 2022. In Sri Lanka, organic farming went catastrophically wrong. Nationwide experiment is abandoned after producing only misery. Basically, they tried to go pesticide-free, and it caused food shortages. So these people have no real solutions other than they have a perverse incentive in that when people are sicker and aren't covered by public health.
Oh, this explains so much about Jillian. So she's kind of in that, like, disaffected, anti-vax light, suburban California wine mom, ex-liberal, to a T, where it's kind of like, what are your solutions to a lot of the big problems? Oh, my solutions are buy local. Buy local. You got to buy local, right? Buy local. Then the second thing to do, for all the suffering in the world, buy organic. Yeah, but you got to buy organic. Yeah, because you just don't know the things that they're putting on our food, and none of us do. So buy local and buy organic, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with buying local. Buying local produce is better. It has to be transported less. It's better for the environment. Okay, so I'm not trying to sit on people who want you to buy local. Organic would be nice if we could mass produce food on a scale to which we have to feed 7 billion humans and not require us to use anything whatsoever to try and prevent some of those crops from not yielding as high results. We do overproduce food. That's another argument to be had for another time. But all the things you're listing are very fucking expensive. It's like people who are like, are you fighting climate change? Because I bought a fucking Tesla. And then it's like, is it better to drive a Tesla than it is to drive a gas-powered car? Of course, for the environment. But like, not everyone can afford that, right? Like, not everyone can have you been to the organic, or in Canada it's called biologique, the biologique section of the supermarket? It's expensive as fuck. Like, food's already expensive as fuck, all right? So I'm not going to get started on that. Let's all go into our depression spirals here. But then you move from that into the organic section, and they found this way to just make like bananas, which would have cost $2 or $3 for the bundle, suddenly cost $12. And it's like, well, it's organic. And it's like, okay, it's certified organic too. And it's like, all right, yeah. I mean, but the bananas are inside still, right? Yeah, but it's different, so instead of using really intense pesticides, we're using like ethyl marine and these lead based compounds. They're more natural and all that kind of stuff. It's like, right, but it's $12 to buy the organic bananas.
They turn to quacks like them.
Yep. Okay, so that's exactly what we're talking about. That was in relation to USAID. Did you read the article?
Did I read the article?
Mm-hmm. You said yup. So did you read it? Because it doesn't support any...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The clip
honestly,
just
Matt was talking there. I don't know what you're talking about.
You said yup. Are you not... Okay.
I said yup just now?
Well, in the clip, when he read it...
What?
This
I do
this ties
3
back
hours
to...
a day. I don't know when that clip was from.
Well, don't you think you should be responsible for the things on your...
I said yup.
Okay.
What is the... I don't even know what
so
the...
this ties back to
I'm not
USAID.
listening to this.
This
you
ties
can
back...
play it. It's for show. I'm here to have an adult conversation.
You're not. You are.
You're just.
I think you're in a free fall because I'm going to bust you in lie after lie after lie.
That's great.
So
yeah. I think they both realize they're in 2 different programs. It's like, I want to have a conversation about these issues so we can get to the core of why I think you believe what you believe, and I want to explain to you why it's wrong, or at least try to find some common ground here. And she's like, I am here to destroy your career, Sam. We got the clips, we got the receipts, one after one. You're going to be caught in lie after lie. And like, she hasn't. Yeah, I mean, as of yet, I don't know how this goes, but she's yet to pull off a single instance of, you said this, it's not true. Not one.
In the article.
Let's start at the beginning. Shall we?
Beginning. That's
we
USAID.
were on Piers Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
You said to me that when I brought up that there were going to be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people over the course of the next decade who are going to die because of cuts in USAID, your words to me were, quote, and I'm sure you have it sought, whatever number it is.
I do.
Your words, that's a red herring.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said to me, read a book.
And if you had, I think you'd know what I was talking about.
You remember what book it was?
Save 3 Lives by Rodale.
Yes. I did read that book.
Did you? Then you should
I bought that book.
Okay.
I have it right here. It was an okay book.
But it should explain
there was a lot of stuff in there which I agreed with.
Ongoing
Do you know when that book was written?
You would, Sam.
You know when that book was written?
Not only do I know when it's written, it actually started in the 50s.
1991.
Sam, can I explain it to you?
And that was 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read the book. It mentions USAID once on page 65, where Rodale actually speaks sort of positively of the USAID representative at a conference who was discussing the
what does
the
food aid run through?
What does the food aid run through, Sam? The supplies needed to grow food in Africa was actually more expensive than the actual food in of itself.
Yes,
and so
you got it. Exactly.
Everything that was in this book and everything that you complained about, saying that USAID was just a front for corporations to go in and destroy the food supply in these countries by forcing and much of what has been written here, I've interviewed countless people on this topic later than 1991, where this dynamic continued.
It got worse.
All of those operations that you supposedly had a problem with USAID have been moved over to the USDA.
I'm well
All
aware.
of that stuff is still happening. But
yes,
what is not
I
happening
know.
Is
that's my
people
point.
People are not getting like TB fighting drugs.
Yes, they are,
not getting.
Sam. That waiver was on the 28th of January.
That's PEPFAR.
There was a blanket.
Was the PEPFAR waiver.
PEPFAR
and
was,
that waiver,
and
I'll
then
tell you right now, I've got an article right here in my hand that talks about the fact is that even after the waiver was issued,
it took a few weeks.
Screwed up the supply side, the logistics stuff, that they still having problems. PBS just wrote a piece on this, actually. Maybe it was in March, about how they are actually seeing deaths, extensive deaths, in as a function of.
Send it to me because I did a ton of homework on this.
Uganda, April 22nd, sees spike in disease-related deaths after elimination of USAID from PBS.
That's been moved over to the State Department, though, Sam. It isn't eliminated. It changed departments.
It specifically talks about the abrupt grinding to a halt by USAID
it was
for both HIV and HIV-associated illnesses like TB,
on the 4th of
meningitis.
February.
Close to 15% of the clients dying of malaria and TB. This is because of a function of USAID.
Anything? Okay, first of all of that was done on 128, a blanket waiver for life-saving aid.
It shut everything down. I'm sorry.
On 128, it was a blanket waiver was given. Okay.
That this will produce 14 million additional deaths by 2030.
Let's go through that. Can we do that? Can I address your two studies?
Sure.
Okay. So number one.
Well, that's not a study. This one's not a study.
They're modeling.
This one is direct reporting. No. By PBS on the ground in Uganda.
That 14 million people have died?
That 14? No. That people were dying in Uganda because of the destruction of USAID.
Sam, send it to me.
I mean,
because
take it up with PBS.
So I did take it up with PBS, and here's what I learned. Since the 2025 dissolution of USAID, the U.S. shifted global health.
Wait, I don't care about the edits. This is it goes right into the ad read too. Damn, what a pro.
The author
what study do you have that
this is yours, Sam?
No, I'm asking you what counter evidence you have. That's correct. Modeling happens all the time in public health.
There isn't any. In fact, there's none. And here's the reason. Because it is impossible to identify exact numbers. The author herself says they're modeling numbers, and I recognize the limitation. And then I'm going to show you the limitations with the study that you never cite. Sam, they're modeling numbers.
How many are you okay with?
None, which is why I want to get into Sam. They're modeling numbers, and I recognize the limitations that this comes with. We don't have routine data sets that we can measure such as those killed by lack of U.S. funding. Having said that, okay, what she doesn't take into account for in her modeling, she doesn't take into account any of the waivers. There was a blanket waiver for life-saving aid given 8 days after Trump's executive order.
I just read to you a piece from PBS that said that waiver was irrelevant in terms of actually getting the aid to people because of all the other mechanisms that were destroyed. The waiver was okay.
Send it to me. Send it to me, and I'll have the team fact check it right now.
Because just have them Google.
Sam,
yeah, I know, but like this is an impasse because she's never going to accept reality. I don't feel like you could be like, okay, well here it is. Like, I think again, it's a situation where she doesn't actually understand what she's talking about, and it appears that you can tell immediately that Sam is like. The waiver that you're speaking about, the specific waiver that I guess she feels absolves both her and Trump of any kind of culpability in the resulting amount of death that Elon Musk's and DOGE's cuts eventually led to. It directly invalidates her argument to then be like, oh yeah, that doesn't matter. It's in the article. You can see that you're getting hung up on the detail that you just hadn't gotten past, or I guess fully understand or wrapped your head around.
The spike in disease-related deaths after elimination of USAID.
Check that. How many deaths? I did find some through Washington Post. I found a handful. Hardly 600 to 750,000. I found a handful. And
a handful? How many is a handful? Kids dying?
Honestly, I found about 8 cases that are documented. Okay. And the issue also has to do with war. It's very, very difficult to lock it down. Having said that, you're throwing out numbers that are not true. So
these are models by the Lancet. I said this is the Lancet study.
Okay,
there are
but
models
Sam,
that are being
neglected
done. They
to
know
mention
how many people get.
The problem with this model. The author of the study has significant conflicts of interest because she gets grants from USAID. All right, there's flawed math because she's saying that every dollar spent equates to an amount of people saved. That's not true at all. She's got opaque, not rigorous layered modeling. She layers 6 different historical studies on top of each other and mashes them together. She ignored pre-existing duplication, which I'm going to give you an example of with the NIH, the USAID, the Eco Health Alliance is a perfect example, which I'm going to give you. USDA, local governments, private philanthropies, she just forgets completely exist. She ignored reassignments because PEPFAR, as you know, went to the State Department, USDA got food. These things were reassigned. There is no...
No, first off, they were not all reassigned. And secondly,
they weren't.
It's one thing to get a waiver, but if you have undermined the entire logistical side, if all the contracts are canceled, if all the
let's go to USDA because I think you'll like this one. Let's go to that.
I know. It's so frustrating that she's being so condescending about something that she clearly doesn't fully understand. Like, you shouldn't be able to mid-sentence have Sam be like, oh, that's not how that works. And then you'd be like, really? How does it work? Like, what? Why are you being condescending to him? I mean, at least come from a position of, I don't fully understand this or how this works, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think you're correct because based on what I'm seeing, like, that would at least be honest at the very least.
That one. So you read the book and I think you get it. You referenced that it's from 1991. It actually started in the 50s. And it was started by Eisenhower and it was public law, I think, 480. Then Kennedy turned it into Food for Peace when he created...
He didn't say it was started in the 50s. I think he said the book that she wanted him to read, which is also just such a ridiculous tactic for any... I hate that. And by the way, that's not just a right-wing thing or a centrist thing. Leftists do that too. When someone will say... I don't think that's right. And you respond with, yeah. And then you just like link them to a book. And it's like, oh, hold on. I'll read this 400-page dense historical piece before I get back to you. And then we'll talk, right? Well, Sam did that because she's like, you have to read this book, Sam. So he's like, yeah, I read the book. There's actually barely anything about USAID in it. But there is a very small, line that relates to it. I guess that's what you wanted me to talk about and have to find in the fucking haystack. But I did. And so here's what this book talks about. He's like, the book came out in 91. He's like, well, actually, this program's been around since 1951, so you lied. That's not a lie. You have to learn what that word means.
USAID. Trump grabbed this. You'll like this. This is anti-Trump. He grabbed this.
He looks like he's loving this. There's one thing it appears is that Sam Seder is enjoying every part of this conversation and where it's going.
This on the 3rd of February of 2025, right? And he moved it all under USDA, and then he called it America First Food Aid. And what he did was he made sure, it's called Tide Aid, which existed, but it got expanded over the years. So you referenced 1991, it got worse over the years. So Tide Aid essentially means that all aid has to come from our big ag companies and go through our shippers. We lose 30 cents on every dollar as American taxpayers because of this. Now, what it does in the developing world is horrible, but there's no universe. And this is what I mean when I tell you it's a red herring. There's no universe they're giving up those contracts. It's billions of dollars to big ag. Billions of dollars. It moved over in less than 2 weeks to USDA. And the reason I'm telling you it's a red herring is because it's covering up for so much filthy, dirty stuff that has gone on.
You're saying that any of the life-saving stuff that USAID did, is it your contention that USAID never saved a life?
No,
never provided malaria stuff.
Nope.
Okay, what is your contention?
Okay, I'll give you an example. All right, can I give you an example?
When I mentioned kids,
can I give you?
You said that's a red herring.
Yes, it's a red herring because we're still feeding them, Sam.
To you that
it's a red herring because we're still feeding them. They're distracting.
On the contrary, the idea of the corporations that is a red herring because if Donald Trump wanted to go in there and reform. That big ag is getting all the contracts and creating monocultures and growing crops that are not appropriate for those countries, et cetera, et cetera. This is all just sort of like imperialism and
it's neo-colonialism. It's right up your alley.
Yeah, I know, but like you're not coming at it from the proper framework here. You're saying that like everything needs to be shut down in totality. And then it's like, what, the U.S. empire, the military industrial complex? No. Just the life-saving aid that was going to poor children in countries in Africa. That's what needs to be shut down, and imperialism over, right? There's a lot of news articles about this, about the hundreds of thousands of people that have died as a result of this. But like, you don't even need to go to news articles, of which there are many, but you can go to like sources, Harvard, USAID shutdown has led to hundreds of thousands of deaths. The Trump administration's decision to shut down the U.S. Agency for International Development has resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths from infectious diseases and malnutrition, according to Harvard Chan School of Public Health. A surgeon, author, and distinguished professor at the residence of Ariadne Labs says he co-founded, served the Biden administration as the assistant administrator for global health. He wrote the article in the New Yorker about the devastating impacts and loss of the USAID funds around the world. He was also featured in an accompanying short documentary called Ravina's Choice, which he co-executive produced. The article, which is discussed in the Lancet, which I believe is the one they're referring to, estimated that USAID assistance aimed at combating diseases such as HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, and polio resulted in maternal and child deaths, and fighting malnutrition had saved 92 million lives over the last 2 decades. The dismantling of USAID, according to the model from Boston University epidemiologist Brooke Nichols, has already caused the death of 600,000 people, 2/3 of them children. He noted the toll will continue to grow and may go unseen because it can take another 2 or 3 years for people to die from the lack of treatments for vaccine preventable illnesses. Now, she's saying this is all a red herring because they're still being fed, and the, I guess, vaccines are still being distributed through other mechanisms, but hasn't explained how, which is the really fucked up part here. I think that's why they're kind of like at the strange, like Sam's trying to explain to her, what do you mean?
Which is why I don't see why you
but
don't.
If Donald Trump
Jill,
wanted to fix that,
no,
he could have easily
he
fixed
didn't
that.
want to fix that.
That's correct. All that ended up happening is all of those bad things continued.
Yes.
The only thing that is no longer
I'm saying that's my point. None of that is changing. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Anti-TB stuff.
Yeah. Also, it just seems like it's coming like at its core from people who are white supremacists like Elon Musk. It makes perfect sense why a Nazi like Elon Musk would be completely fine with hundreds of thousands of children in countries in Africa dying. That seems like it's part of his project. Like for him, it's like, oh great, I get to pretend like I'm saving costly government expenditures for my fan base, while at the same time I get to murder a lot of children who are not white. That's like, Elon Musk's dream come manifest. But it's just like, it's such a tell if you have anyone coming at this uniquely from a perspective that this is anti-imperialism, and they've never expressed that sentiment for anything else. Like in terms of imperial damage done to further the grandeur of the US and its hegemony, what do you think does worse, the US military industrial complex or its aid programs? like if you're like, we got to stop these aid programs to stop the imperial core, and it's like, oh, all right, comrade, welcome on board. So I guess we're going to have to go at the root of the problem. No, just the aid. Yeah, because fuck them kids, am I right? Yeah, sorry, that sounds a little rough.
No, well, let's play the clip and let people decide if that's what you were trying to communicate.
No problem. Guys, it's shot number 8.
Jillian.
The feeding starving children thing is such a freaking red herring. So first of all, the vast majority of this USAID bloat and corruption does not go to that. Second of all, we have children starving here in America. But third of all, and what you don't know.
Why is he laughing so much about the starving kids part? Like, it's not like there's a ramp up to this where it's like, hey, by the way, I got a setup for you. What's funnier? Kids dying from AIDS or from starvation, right? Like, he's just fucking laughing his face off right now.
Oh, and what you have not looked into, okay, is that...
Like, even Pierce Morgan, not a good man. Very bad man. Bad man. Even he is maintaining composure throughout the... Well, this is rather ghastly. Is it not? Yeah, a little bit. Please.
Read a book. It's called Save 3 Lives, and it's by the Rodale family. And it has to do with the fact that our big ag companies went into the developed world to addict their soil to our GMO crops. It's a money laundering game. They can grow their crops.
And here's the thing, like, if there are aspects of the story which are 100% true, that there has been projects by GMOs and by massive multinational corporations, and they obviously are going to be both testing their products and then also utilizing the exploitation of countries, especially countries that they feel they can economically exploit in a variety of means. if that's all stuff that you are suddenly on board with, guess what? Holy shit, do we have a lot to talk about. But it's like you're only using this as a way to defend Elon Musk and Trump killing kids. It's not like, okay, so do you care about taking down multinational corporations now? Oh no, they're good. They're the job creators. Capitalism, great. Okay, so then what are we doing here? I feel like you just hate black kids. That's, I mean, if that's unfair, if that's an unfair statement right now, and on some level you're like that, well, of course you would call me a racist. Okay, fine. Explain yourself then. What else do I have to go on here?
In their soil far more efficiently and did for thousands of years before ConAgra and Cargill and Monsanto and ADM went in. You just don't know that because you haven't done your homework. So you're like, oh, there's children starving in Africa. When really, it is about billions of dollars going to big ag. That's what that's really about. And I've seen it firsthand when I went to South Sudan and stayed at a refugee camp. So don't play your starving children card. I can't.
So I'm telling you that bloat and corruption is not about the...
Jillian has an adopted black daughter. Well, now I have more questions. Even more questions.
USAID program, but if you're truly concerned about it, it's way worse than not sending Puffy Nutty or whatever the paste is. It is because... It is actually because... Okay.
The budget, the spending by sector from 2024, you said the majority of this stuff.
Bloat and corruption, I said. The majority of the bloat
maternal
and corruption.
Child health, basic education, good governance, disaster readiness.
Sam, that's not what I said. I said the majority of bloat and corruption is not going to that. Can I give you an example?
So the majority of stuff that's not going to them is not going to them. But is your suggestion?
Can I give you an example?
The majority. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
I'm going to try to tell you.
Are you saying that the majority of the USAID budget was just bloat and corruption?
Bloat and corruption that Elon Musk is referencing. He was very clear, by the way, that he didn't want to cut food aid.
Wait, are you going to try and argue to me that DOGE was somehow successful? It's universally considered an absolute failure.
Well, let's talk.
We didn't save any money. The budget,
we did save money, not nearly as much.
You're absolutely right. We didn't save a dime.
Can we get into
a dime?
Yeah, I was like, I think any of the imaginary savings that DOGE may have given you, that shit got evaporated as soon as the bombs started falling. Like that stuff, even the fake savings you got is gone now. Yeah, the fake savings, but you keep feeling good about that.
The way they went about this was just the most ham-fisted way. They used AI just to look at contracting and willy-nilly. We just had a judge ruling the other day. Half the stuff is being reversed to the extent that it can be because it was done so poorly.
Why don't we talk about what he was talking about? You see if you don't agree with it, okay? So can I point out something I think that you got wrong? I'll give you an example of what we're talking about.
The COVID pandemic, I think we all know that infectious diseases abroad do not necessarily stay overseas.
She's all over the map
prevented, here. We help countries prevent and detect infectious diseases before they could come to our borders. And we built partnerships that, helped the United States and built goodwill and on the foundation of American generosity over the course of about 6 decades that created an international framework that supported the United States' success over that time.
I mean, it was created under the Kennedy administration, along with things like the Peace Corps. This was a way to project, or in many respects, like American influence, if not power, soft power, and to do so by making friends. I mean, we essentially to help people. And it was, I mean, aside from, like you say, a lot of this had implications for American health too, because particularly, less so maybe in 1960, but certainly by the time you get to 2020, we saw quite quickly how something that starts all the way around the world can impact this country.
Okay, can I give you some examples about where that?
Why did you play such a long clip? What is your contention with anything he said?
That's flawed. All right. So,
Which part? What I said or the guy who worked at USAID for 10 years?
But Sam, both.
Which?
Both,
okay, both of us.
Okay. Both. All right. So USAID gave Eco Health Alliance, which is the organization that funded the Wuhan lab. Okay, they gave them millions of dollars. Part of it quite literally went to bat-borne coronavirus research, 1.1 million. They've given them tens of millions. Simultaneously, these guys are taking money from the NIH for the same thing. They're double billing both agencies. That's bloat, that's corruption. Not only that, okay, just to show you, I'm trying to show you that there is bloat and there is corruption, and this is the kind of stuff that people are upset about. So now, if you look at, right, how corrupt these people are,
what does that have to do with the USAID? Is
USAID funded them tens of millions of dollars. Sam, what?
Pathogens.
Sam. But the point that Elon Musk was trying to make, and he said so numerous times, he did not say, I want to cut food, I want to cut life-saving aid. He said the opposite. So you
said it was a joke. You laughed at it. You literally said it's a red herring and it's a joke.
It is a red herring.
Okay. Kids dying card.
Sam, what I was saying
if you're so worried about bloat and corruption, do you understand that you don't want to see this, do you? Donald Trump right now has been selling pardons. He is literally about to get a $1.7 billion slush fund.
Agree with you.
By suing the government.
Hate it.
And his former defense attorney, who's the head of the DOJ. And you're talking about like,
well, you wanted to debate this, though, didn't you? Isn't this what you wanted to debate?
That's not I don't even know how you have a conversation at this point, because it's like, I'm giving you examples to the thing you just brought up. Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about what we came here to talk about. And that's this completely separate thing right now that I'm definitely going to own you on, because I got a clip to show you. That wasn't the thing that you thought it was. That's the words that are coming out of those people's mouths. One of them might be you at any given time. That's not what that means.
No, I just don't think this is all disingenuous.
Really?
And the idea of like that somehow that the USAID was targeted to deal with a lab in Wuhan is absurd.
Sam, it's not absurd. It's absolutely true.
And all of the resources that were cut in the first Trump administration from pandemic, a whole pandemic alarm system with people who were stationed in Wuhan from the United States, with a cabinet level secretary who was in charge of keeping the country aware of pathogens that were coming. All of that stuff, waste and bloat until we end up having to shut down.
Have you actually listened to anything else I've said about this? Because I could actually.
I've listened to everything you've said.
Okay, so then you would know that I said.
You were crying about what we had said about you on the show.
Sam, if you'd actually done that, you'd know that I said that this should be like removing a brain tumor. In other words, if USAID is the brain, you need to be slow and strategic about removing.
I think that's exactly.
Well, then you must realize that you're actually talking about starving to death hundreds of thousands of child brains. We don't even need to use a metaphor here. Like, come on. This is such a fucked up thing to be like, Sam, I don't think you realize. All right, you don't understand. Okay. If you knew the words that I used, I was very clear and concise about this. Sam, have you heard of, okay, I don't think he knows what this is. Okay, this is something called a metaphor. Okay, so what I wanted to do is compare this, right, and contrast it. Sam, you just don't understand.
Exactly what I was saying on the with Piers Morgan.
Okay.
And your response was, "That's a red herring. Don't throw that around." I mean,
the reason it is
starting to sound like Lord of the Rings. I feel like we got Frodo. Like, oh Sam, oh Sam.
The red herring is because they are using you, and when I say they, I'm talking about Big Ag. I'm talking about places like EcoHealth Alliance.
You're literally
to distract
talking
from
about
Sam, the definition of
$4 billion.
Sam,
annually.
I'm talking
the percentage of what you're talking about. Donald Trump has made more money in the past 15 months.
Sam, that's a separate conversation. Stay on point. You wanted to talk about this.
This is all part of one conversation.
Yeah, because you can't have people in the government saying, hey, we're going to get rid of all the excess spending. And you're like, really? Yes, no more bloat. We are going to save you money overall. So much money we're going to save you that we might even be able to send you all like a personal check. Don't ask about that later, because that'll just definitely disappear. But right now, that's what we're aiming to do. That's why we need DOGE. That's why the cuts are coming. That's why we're going to save all this money. And it's like, okay, so they've shown us where they're going to cut all this money from. And then it does seem like a very significant portion of it is going to come from life-saving medication, pre-digested food, and aid that is sent to a bunch of countries. the resulting loss of this medical aid, attention, etc., is going to lead to hundreds of thousands of children dying in countries like Uganda, for example. This is really, really fucked up. But at the end of the day, it's to save you some money. And then it's like, well, but they're spending more money than that. Like any savings you may have thought you got from DOGE, which, by the way, the numbers were completely fudged and bloated. You can watch any one of the, like, you know, the deep dive breakdowns on that if you want to learn more. But even then, at my most good faith, you know, interpretation, you lose all that once you start a war, because now that war is costing you billions of dollars every single day to kill more children. So it's not as if there is a net gain being done here. It's like hundreds of thousands of children are going to die or have died already in a lot of these impoverished nations. In addition, all the money that you may have saved from killing all those kids, you're spending killing more kids. Isn't that grotesque? Isn't that fucked up? Isn't fascism gross? Don't you want to end this system? Isn't this like, that should be the primary focus. If you're like, yeah, I don't know if you've heard of the Imperial Core. It does some fucked up stuff, Sam. They actually tried to spread what is called soft power through life-saving mechanisms. I'll agree that the purpose is not benevolent and is certainly a problem and one that needs to be discussed, but don't let all of those like people die who had nothing to do with this so you can prove your point while at the same time not saving anything so you can go to another part of the world and go kill a bunch of other kids. This it's madness.
Okay. Because when you decide to prioritize shifting big ag's neocolonialism to the State Department from USAID to USDA at the expense.
Like, if you hate neocolonialism, wait till you hear what all the wars are doing. Like, I am really against neocolonialism, specifically in the form of agro and companies and pesticides, right? And it's like, okay, I understand. We're doing other fucked up stuff too. You should see like what happens to all the bombs and the bullets we sell to Israelis. Like, you should see what the IDF does with those. That's really fucked up. That's some horrifying stuff, right? You should see what Americans do with the bombs they themselves make and then drop on schools where a bunch of children die. That's really fucked up too, no?
Providing things like malaria care.
They did provide malaria
maternal
care,
and
Sam.
child
if you're
health
going to
care.
say they did
Good
provide
governance. Oh, I'm looking at the cuts.
Sam, on 2-4
right here.
So tell me, here's my question.
I will tell you the
then
percentages.
what was the
in which they were
blanket
cut.
waiver on 2-4 that specifically is for
okay, you can say
child
the blanket
mortality
waiver
and
over over again.
maternal care?
I will give you the actual dollar amounts that were cut from each of these programs. From malaria, 25% cut.
But Sam,
from basic
Sam.
education, 35% cut. From disaster readiness, 24% cut. From pandemic influenza and other emerging threats, 33% cut. I mean, I could just keep going on and on and on.
Can I address that? Can I address that? They are cutting bureaucracy, corruption, fraud, and duplication. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't. That's why I'm trying to show you, just with one example on COVID.
Have you not heard how the guys from DOGE did this? They used AI and they just used keywords to cut all these contracts. Yep. They're not cutting any bloat or waste or whatever you're talking about.
Yep.
There's not a single piece of evidence that there was any bloat or corruption or whatever it is you're talking about.
I just gave you a ton of evidence. I'll go. Okay, right.
No.
Can I give you more? Can I give you more? Can I give you more?
That's not what evidence is.
That we give you more. Allow big corporations.
Do you want to talk about Afghanistan? Do you want to talk about Haiti?
She keeps doing this. She'll be like, all right, we have to talk about this. All right. I know you don't want to, but we're going to have to get here eventually. He's like, no, I'm very happy to talk about this. Let's talk about this. Okay. Well, clearly you were lying when you said this. No, that's not what I said means. That's not a clip related to what I said at all. That's actually a different person. That's a person on the street. That's just a clip of a random person saying random things that has nothing to do or pertains to what we're having a conversation about right now. The actual numbers, if you want them, I have them here. This is the evidence. And here you go. Oh, you would say that. So what now? You want to talk about Afghanistan? If you'd like, yeah, we could broach that topic. I have a feeling if I was to, base it on what we've seen already, I know how it's going to go, the following conversation on Afghanistan. I feel very shortly we will be on another topic. So if this is not one you like, don't worry. You have but a couple seconds before, the Etch-a-Sketch gets reset.
Come out. Listen, I have talked about both those places significantly, but DOGE did nothing to address those issues whatsoever. They have flourished under this administration.
Sam,
they did nothing.
I don't disagree with you about that. If you want to say they flourished under this administration, then what I would say to you is maybe this is an area where you and I could find some common ground, because I still stand for what I stand for. But when people are hoping that that stuff dies, there are reasons that they hope it dies. That's what I'm trying to show you.
Yeah, well, of course. It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on. If someone comes up to you and is like, hey, there's corruption going on in there. Really? Lots of it. Wow. Do you want to get rid of the corruption? Yeah. I'm trying to show you, Sam, that there were people at the end of the day when they were told multiple times by people in positions of authority that there was corruption, they wanted that corruption to go away. I'm just letting you know, in case you didn't know that, all right? That's right. This is 100% my reaction to that. Yes. If you want, hey, right here is a summary, okay, for a thumbnail or whatever. If you want to know exactly, if you're just tuning in, you're like, oh, Lance, how's the debate? You've been streaming this for like almost 2 hours now. Yep, this is it. This is the totality of what we've been experiencing the entire time. Like, my God. Sam, I'm just trying to explain to you. Some people, when told that there was something bad, didn't want a bad thing to happen anymore.
There are... For example,
you're telling me that the reasons why DOGE did this was because they were concerned about neo-colonialism?
No, that's why I told you that's a red herring. That's
Wait,
not what it was.
Neo-colonialism is a red herring?
No,
or
Sam.
the children dying is a red herring?
No, Sam. What I was telling you is they weren't.
Please get her to define what she thinks a red herring is. I bet she thinks it's a bird.
Cutting that ever. It was just moving over to the USDA.
Oh my God.
That's what I was
Okay. That is not what. Let's watch that clip again, because you specifically said
Mm-hmm.
the children dying is a red herring, not.
I said in the very beginning, and we can play it again. I
Yeah,
said the
let's.
corruption and the bloat is not going towards the food, meaning that is not what he is talking about. I can play it again. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm just simply looking at all the cuts across the board
Sam,
here.
the cuts, $1 cut of duplication, of bloat, of bureaucracy, of corruption does not equate to aid.
Show me the place sought whatever number where you have the proof that this is bloat and corruption.
Okay. Can I give you examples? I don't have clips of what happened with COVID. I can put the articles up. So that's
bloat and corruption.
So, okay. When EcoHealth Alliance is given tens of millions of dollars from USAID, and they're double billing 2 different government agencies for the same thing, do you think that's bloat and corruption? And
Eco Alliance had this contract in 2024?
Okay, let me give you the exact.
Or did they, or that contract had ended before then?
They got the contract.
I like how she's like, don't worry, I'll give you a direct example. Okay, well, this isn't so much direct as it is a thought experiment. But even then, same, but different. So in this thought experiment, if you heard something bad had happened, would you think that was bad? Sure. Sure.
So here we go. Okay. So they got it before that, obviously. I can get you the exact date if you want. So USAID's Predict program. All right. Team, can you get me the exact year that USAID Predict gave $1.1 million to EcoHealth Alliance, specifically for a sub-agreement with the Wuhan Institute of Virology?
$1.1 million?
They also got, listen, I'm not done. They got $83 million in total. Okay. This is just to identify
from USAID.
The connection. Yes. Yes.
You got $83 million from USAID.
Yes, Sam. Okay, ready? In October, I got it. Okay, so we have, hold on. So in October of 2021, USAID awarded $4.67 million grant with total funding obligations that reached 13.1. So some of this has to do with farming in Liberia. Okay, EcoHealth also operated as a subrecipient on other multi-million-dollar USAID projects, including, here we go, One Health Workforce Grant and the Ready Initiative. Total $85 million just for those programs. The Ready Initiative was $8 million. The Liberia money was $13.1 million. And simultaneously, these guys are billing the NIH and they're double billing. That's what I'm trying to show you. Sam, okay, right.
The U.S. Agency for International Development has provided approximately $53 million in total funding for the EcoHealth Alliance between 2004 and 2022, so spanning multiple decades. However, the specific $83 million figure likely conflates multiple federal sources. You put this on screen. or references the total taxpayer funding Eco Health receives across all federal agencies before its recent government-wide suspension. This is not evidence of corruption. What are you doing? Again, at my... Give it to her, Sam. Give it to her. Be like, okay, fine. Yes, all right. You got this one. Oh, gotcha. Oh, I have been debatatored in the blood sports. How much money has Trump just signaled that he's basically going to appropriate from the taxpayers to fund his military junta? You know, the fascists who tried to take over democracy in the U.S. Apparently, some of them, like Enrico Torres, he's standing to get like between $3 and $5 million for crimes. So if this is in the billions, that pisses you off. I would assume by like a magnitude of 10 plus times, right? To this non-thing that's not real. It's not the thing you think it says.
In October, I got it. Okay, so we have, hold on.
It's Tario, sorry, Tario.
So in October of 2021, USAID awarded $4.67 million grant with total funding obligations that reached 13.1. So some of this has to do with farming in Liberia. Okay, EcoHealth also operates.
It's pronounced into, yes, sorry, I'm getting too excited. I'm actually pronouncing J's now.
It is a sub-recipient on other multi-million-dollar USAID projects, including, here we go, One Health Workforce Grant and the READY Initiative. Total $85 million just for those programs. The READY Initiative was $8 million. The Liberia money was $13.1 million. And simultaneously, these guys are billing the NIH and they're double billing. That's what I'm trying to show you. Not only are they double billing, if I could just show you this is not a gotcha. Graphic number 6. This is the...
No, it's not.
This is a son of a bitch from Eco Health Alliance. Okay, so, ready? This is David Morenz.
Maybe we should. Okay, here's a metaphor for you, or a thought experiment, Jillian, to put back in your direction. One that's going to be very easy and something to understand. So if you had someone you considered to be an associate or a friend or even a family member, and they put their hand in their pocket, held out their hand, and it turns out they had like 20 cents, and then they're like, I took this from you. And then right after doing that, they ran up to a child and started trying to beat that kid to death. Would you have a bigger problem with the fact that they had taken 20 cents from you, or the fact that they're trying to kill a child in front of you right now, in front of your eyes? Because like the 20 cents, it's probably not going to be the biggest deal, right? Like, you know, I can't remember the last time, you know, someone bent down to pick up a quarter kind of stuff. So I'm assuming you're not as upset about the pennies and change, but the whole beating up the child thing is of more pressing concern.
From the NIH, they got him more money after they were trying to hide the FOIA requests, hide the emails, and from the FOIA requests that were coming in to show that there was a connection with the coronavirus and the NIH funding and the USAID funding. Now we know. Ahem. This is David Morenz, okay? This is Fauci's guy.
And we're now in just full-blown conspiracy territory. Like, at the point now where you're like, all right, well, I got to pull up the Epstein emails with the redacted information that actually proves my point by showing you that this program was actually being utilized for, like, I don't even know where you go from here.
Do I get a kickback? Too much fucking money. Do you deserve it all? Let's discuss. And then Peter Daszak goes, thanks for your kind words. Of course there's a kickback. So
why does she keep conflating receiving multiple funding sources as corruption and bloat? Because that's all she's got, I think. I don't know if it's because she genuinely believes that, or because like that's as close, or I think it's just, again, this is all right-wing ecosystem brain rot. Like you've heard these things said or presented to you so many times over and over, you start to think they're real. Like it's why sometimes you'll be speaking to like a transphobe who has been consuming nonstop like Matt Walsh shit and stuff. They don't live in a material reality where you can actually talk to them about like very basic things about how the earth or the known universe works, right? Like principles of how physics associate with chemistry, like shit like that. Like you're eventually going to be speaking to someone where they're just at an impasse, right? If they're like, oh, there are but two genders, there are but two sexes, it's a biological certainty, there's no such thing, it's XX or XY chromosomes, and it's mathematics and science and DNA, and you can't disprove that. And it's like, well, how do you account for people who have XXY chromosomes? How do you account for people who have XXX chromosomes? How do you account for people who have differences of sexual development? I mean, science has. It's very, very easy to fit within the model of if there was something in which you thought at one point was basically just going to be a binary between two different options, showing that it might actually be a spectrum of which most people on that spectrum will fall between two most likely outcomes. But there is a small percentage of people who fall outside of those two most likely outcomes. That's why it's a spectrum. Now, just because there happens to be things that invalidate your entire worldview at this moment in time, and I understand that can be a little bit scary, yeah, but that doesn't mean you just give up on in the totality towards actually appreciating or understanding how the world works. Like that's the thing where I'm always just like, because like all of us get shit wrong. I get shit. I got shit wrong 2 minutes ago. I pronounce Hunter Junta. I got something wrong. I like we fuck up all the fucking time. Like that's reality. But like I don't think the measure is whether or not you are able to regurgitate information. Like you might as well just be a chatbot at that point. The measure of you is not whether or not you're able to basically know all the multiple choice answers to all the multiple choice questions, and then I know you've got the highest big brain IQ of all the humans, right? But is it that you are intellectually curious enough or willing to take in new information, and based on that new information, update? I'll say update, not change. Update your beliefs, because we're always doing that all the time. How many things did you believe when you were like, a 10-year-old compared to what you believe now, like decades later, right? Like you've learned a lot, you've taken in a ton of more information, and at a certain point, you either have to reject in totality the way the world works, or you've got to keep on fitting it inside your worldview box that has to keep making more and more sense. And so, yeah, you could be a really strange, like I don't know where on the political aisle Jillian currently considers herself, but like if you're someone who was basically anti-vax light, liberal activists, buy local, buy organic, let's end GMOs and then we can save the world kind of stuff. And then someone comes up to you and is like, that's all well and good if you can afford it. It's obviously very, very expensive to try and shop exclusively organic and exclusively by local merchants. But yeah, I mean, if you have the ability to do so, but that doesn't actually save the world, right? Like by you buying a brand new Tesla, you're not ending climate change. You have to realize this. Like this is kind of like liberal capitalist consumer versions of activism. It's not real activism. And then she's got that worldview that I guess pushed her into this right-wing sphere further and further as she just like kept getting pushback from everyone who has a rational thought. Like if you're hanging out, especially if you're like in the LGBTQ plus community, right? You're hanging out with fellow LGBTQ plus members, and then at one point you're like, I think we do have to start talking about like, I don't want to say it because you're gonna look at me weird, but like trans people. Look, I don't have a problem with them. I'm just saying, like, what? Because you self-identify or something that I'm supposed to like say that you have rights, or I don't know. Does the umbrella have to be that big? Does the flag have to be that colorful? Do we really need all the different colors and shades and representation? I don't know. It just kind of feels like, it's basically perfectly liberal. It's as liberal as it gets, right? It's kind of I got mine. If you're a white lesbian who has rights within the United States to be able to marry and has certain protections in the workplace and discrimination against you towards whether or not you can find housing and work, well then maybe you feel a lot more safe to go after other women who don't have those, because it gets you in a position where you then get to present yourself as one of the good ones to people who would otherwise be attacking everybody. Right? It's like, oh, no, please don't go after me. I hate trans women. I don't think trans women are real women. Don't go after me. Let's just like leave it there,
Do you not think that's shitty? That's gross?
I think that that DOGE, that Donald Trump, that Russell Vogt, that Elon Musk had the ability to cancel that contract. Instead, what they did is they did cancel it. $5 billion from protection assistance and solutions. They cut $2 billion from HIV AIDS. They cut $672 million, or I should say.
That one there alone, like, even if I was to grant you that you didn't like misconstrue multiple sources as a direct sign of corruption, that like a lot of government agencies receive funding from multiple different sourcing agencies, that's not weird, that's not corrupt, that's just how it works. But even if it granted you, yes, that proves $83 million worth of corruption. Right there, you just mentioned $2 billion worth of cuts. Like you're talking dollars and cents. That's why I was like, the clearest way I can explain this to you is if you were genuinely mad about this, you're mad at someone for having taken like a couple pennies from you. That's it. Just a couple pennies. Like you're looking at a person and he's like, I stole 2 cents from you. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay. And he's like, and now I'm going to violently attack children. Like, what are you more mad about? Are you more mad at the 2 cents that he stole from you? Or are you more mad about the fact that he's now running after kids to attack them? I would assume, hopefully, in good faith, that you're more angry about the kid attacks.
$300 million from malaria. They cut $200 million from basic education. They cut $200 million, approximately, it's a little bit more, from maternal and child health.
Sam,
they cut money from good governments. They cut money from disaster readiness, private sector competitiveness, family planning and reproductive health. I could go on and on. Pandemic, influenza, and other emerging threats.
So if they're cutting, corrupt organizations like EcoHealth.
I just had a level 6 firewalk ramen. My mouth and stomach are lit. Oh man, we have one near us that does that kind of like, they have a 1 to 6 scale, but then you can get the off menu, like volcano stuff. And I've tried to have it with my buddy, Dave, and like he can handle his, like we can both handle our spice, but like he can handle inhuman levels of spice. But I'm like two spoons in before the sweat starts pouring down. I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm not gonna make it to this bowl of noodles.
Science, did they do all of those?
Can I give you a bunch of other examples then? Speaking of,
sure.
Right? Okay, so why don't we look at things like, how about Afghanistan? That was botched. Yeah? Are we on the same? Do you think that was botched?
Yes, I don't think we should have been there for 20 years.
That's totally fine.
George W. Bush should have gotten Osama bin Laden at Tora Bora.
Was a disaster.
2004.
And it's trillions of dollars. So
I was very much against our occupation of Afghanistan. And in fact, I thought that our invasion of them, we should have just used, it should have been just a police action to get Osama bin Laden.
That's totally fine. Separate issue, though. We're talking about bloat and corruption. All right. So you have $2 trillion went into rebuilding the country for 20 years. So you have Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, and they found trillions of money wasted. Projects were abandoned. Infrastructure was unusable. There was corruption, vulnerabilities, obviously, from the government, ghost employees like police officers that didn't exist, massive inability to verify spending, facilities that were built that collapsed into the ground that were never used, schools and clinics that existed only on paper. Same thing with Haiti, and the list goes on and on. So the point is that you can say, oh, they cut these trillions of dollars that were going to schools that never existed.
We were out of Afghanistan when
we're still giving money to the Taliban.
Elon Musk
we're still giving money to
DOGE. I don't understand. Well, you're just bringing up examples that.
Sorry, you can't both be against like the occupation of Afghanistan and then also be against any kind of material attempt to try and do restitution. Like, I mean, if you genuinely care about what was done there, you should be of the mindset where it's like, well, I think we should probably have to do reparations in some form or another for decades, like literal decades. And yeah, that would be my honest response.
Corruption and bloat exists in certain areas, and therefore it justified cutting off the aid that
I'm telling you that
for USAID. Again, you think there's only 8 people who have suffered because of the end of these USAID
It's very
programs.
difficult to get a quantifiable number.
Well, what's your estimate?
Honestly, considering, if we're looking at this honestly, given the fact that you have other governments giving, that never was interrupted.
They have cut back as well, actually, in the wake of our cutting back on USAID, because a lot of these programs had to get
cut back
torn
on January 20th of 2025 or later down the road?
No.
Okay, no. All right, so they were giving at the time. So you have a 3-week interruption for some of this stuff. Some of it 1 week, some of it 2 weeks, some of it several weeks. But you have blanket waivers where this was, as you very appropriately show me.
This is from somebody who worked in Uganda. The numbers began to trend downward closer to 10% in terms of deaths after an exemption was issued for certain life-sustaining programs. It's still high, but it's lower than during that time. So it did drop after the exemption.
I searched and searched and could not find one quantifiable number. I did find a really good piece in the Washington Post that listed specific cases. And one guy who went to South Sudan, I found that. But
there's a guy here in Uganda.
Sam, okay. And you know what they all say? Well, It's hard to know because there's also starvation and there's also war and there's conflating factors. I couldn't find any concrete numbers.
I know there's comorbidities.
So when I say to you, we're looking at a matter of weeks
I know there's comorbidities.
that there was an interruption. Simultaneously, you have duplication from other government agencies like the State Department, like the USDA, like the CDC, like the NIH. So now you have our government agencies that are simultaneously doing it. You have blanket waivers that came into effect within a matter of...
What was the date of us being on that show?
I know that you had a post about Nutty Putty. That was March 3rd. And Elon Musk said...
Just too much, I'm assuming, ChatGPT sourced links happening all at once there. I'm like, I don't even know what she's trying to tell you with these with these clips.
This contract was reinstated 2 weeks ago. Which would have coincided with the waivers. I know that on the 28th of January, we'd already given a blanket waiver, or Rubio did. I already know there's duplication with government agencies. I know other countries are giving. I know that for a fact. I know that there's local charities. I know that these companies that are getting this money are getting tens of millions of dollars. So I would think that they could probably float it for a couple of...
You think it's all just sort of, some people are faking it now, a year
Well, 600 to
later.
$750,000, or I'm sorry, 750,000 people? Yes, I think that's inaccurate. And I'm giving you all the reasons why I think it's inaccurate.
You think the models are inaccurate? You think the Lancet is making this up, et cetera, et cetera?
I just told you all of the...
So, by the way, this is a pretty far cry from, I just want to get rid of corruption. Now you're claiming that the estimated amount of people who have died or are going to die, especially children, is either manufactured or made up. So I guess that at the core was what you always thought was the red herring, right? Like it's meant to distract you. What? Well, you'll be really sad if you hear about the hundreds of thousands of children who are going to die as a result of these cuts. Yeah, that's meant to distract you. It's called a red herring. No, it's called basic human empathy. What? What the fuck are you talking about?
I'll tell you one thing for sure. It's absolutely partisan. I was able to see like different information coming from both sides. One side says nobody, and the other side says...
You can't keep doing this. She's just like flashing you with all these different things. I was like, I don't know what the source is on this one. This one's a meme. This one is just a chat log. At one point, it looked like a chat log that she was putting on screen. And I'm like, okay, it's unacceptable. BU mathematician tracks how many deaths may result from USAID Medicaid cuts. The impact trackers update in real time based on the loss of international aid programs combating HIV and tuberculosis. That's bad, right? Or sorry, do you think that this is made up or a distraction or a red herring?
Millions. I can't find anything concrete online. It's not to say that I think, oh, this is a...
Well, yeah, because like these are estimates based on how many lives these like, you know, either pre-digested food or, malaria pills or vaccines are estimated to prevent in preventable deaths. That's why these models are based on that. Is every person who is dying from this saying before their deaths, America killed me, this was Trump, Elon did this, and then, you know, filling out a form stating, like, so we have now we have the numbers. Now we can really point towards the fact that Elon Musk is one of history's greatest monsters. I mean, we got hundreds of thousands of people. Every single one of them said Elon did this right before they died.
Amazing. What I was trying to tell you is that food aid is not stopping. That...
Not to mention the U.S. cut the people that would give you the exact numbers. That's a red herring. I'm sorry. You can't bring that up.
Is a narrative that they were leaning on to distract from other things that are really nefarious, like corruption in Haiti, in Afghanistan.
I am fully on board with, but nothing DOGE did in any way dealt with all of those things that you're talking about.
No, of course not. It has a little.
What? I'm sorry, but you're willing to roll the dice on hundreds of thousands of kids dying for a fucking crumb? For a fucking... I admit it. Fine. It didn't save a lot of money, but it saved a little. And then immediately it's like, but you realize that even if I grant you it's DOGE saved a small little amount of money by letting like tons and tons of kids die. You lose all of those savings by the billions as soon as Trump drops bombs on Iran. Like the same administration that is supposedly saving you all this money is costing you all this money in an unjust illegal war.
If you listen to...
You have evidence of that, or is that your projection?
I'll give you two examples. So, guys, which SOT is it? SOT 13, where Elon Musk talks about what he was able to accomplish, I think.
I mean, it's your gotchas.
So we're gonna trust Elon Musk. You're concerned about the partisanship of somebody who's
Sam, let her play the clip. Come on, that's so unfair. You're pausing it before she's even played it. Who knows? The context could like vindicate her yet.
He says there was so
from Harvard is
pause
in, I should say
it's
some
BU.
studies from
University.
It's Lancet. And you're going to go to Elon Musk.
I'm going to go to Marco Rubio. I'm going to go to the State Department. What he talks about is he killed like 200. He created a code to kill zombie payments. He talks about how he was able to be nominally effective, but when he references why he wasn't capable of being super effective.
Cool story. IDF investigates itself for war crimes, finds none. Oh, weird how that keeps happening, like every time, like every single time. You would think at a certain point they would be like, we have to acknowledge we did actually slaughter some kids here unjustly, I guess. But no, it's just like every single time. No, the IDF has investigated itself for the war crimes and found no wrongdoing. I mean, yeah.
Effective. He talks about the bureaucracy and the corruption and the bloat and how it was more entrenched than he ever imagined. It doesn't mean it wasn't there.
I don't need to hear Elon Musk try and justify why he failed so miserably.
What we found with USAID cuts, and by the way, they haven't all been cut. The parts of USAID that we found to be even slightly useful were transferred to the State Department. So they've not been deleted. They've simply been transferred to the State Department.
This is so embarrassing, Jillian. Are you serious? Okay, so she uses where does the AI come in? Because this seems to go. Oh, she uses Elon Musk again, pulls him up again. Is this the clip where he's talking about God? I recognize
funding
the interview.
For that really just made no sense. That was just entirely wasteful. Where like, for example, there was probably $100, maybe $200 billion worth of zombie payments per year, which simply by
See, Sam, Stephen Miller's wife, who brought Elon Musk on to talk about his really good program, provided all the evidence you need. He said out loud there, $200 billion worth of zombie payment savings.
There's like a very strong reaction to stopping the money flowing.
Sentences are hard. Well, I mean, when you're zooted on ketamine, I imagine probably a little bit more difficult to get those sentences out, right?
I spoke to a guy who worked at USAID for 10 years.
Is it possible? I know, and the guy literally didn't even know that we funded COVID partly through USAID.
You're suggesting that we created COVID.
I do believe so. Yes, I think that we.
Well, I mean, hey, at least it's not China this time.
Funded. I do think that EcoHealth Alliance funded it through money that came from.
Wait, the EcoHealth Alliance, the non-profit that's supposed to be feeding children in countries like Uganda? What? Sorry, but why? Why? Oh, for more money. That's it. Follow the money. Do your research. Who stands to profit?
NIH and the USAID. And I do think
I love how people who say that shit never end up where the money's going. It's like, okay, let's follow the money to its logical conclusion. Hey, by the way, the richest humans on the planet, it's not a secret. I can look it up right now. There's a list of the top 1,000 richest billionaires, and you can actually look up the list of all the thousands of billionaires that exist in the world. There's not a lot of them. Again, they're the only dangerous minority. So it's not like there's a secret as to who's fucking the planet up on any given day. And it's like, yeah, but in this case, you should follow the money. And then it's like, well, yeah, this is a nonprofit organization that has received funding from multiple government sources that, I mean, unlike a lot of these billionaires, actually have to make all of their fucking finances freely available to the public, right? They have to be transparent about that shit.
That string of emails from Morenz and Dazik is fairly good evidence of that fact. I do believe that, yeah. And so does the FBI. I think the CIA does now. Like that's a generally well recognized, I'm not going to say fact, but thought, belief. If you don't think so, that's totally fine. We could litigate it at a different time. I do think we did. Yeah.
You don't think we did it on purpose, do you?
I have no idea why we would do it. I do know the theories about gain of function research. I can't necessarily tell you. I think they're entirely altruistic. I mean, the argument is like, well, We're just studying what would happen.
So do you support like things like patent reform and antitrust?
Of course.
That would prevent these agents. And so how is it like, do you see yourself supporting an administration that has had total control of our government, that has broached laws and constitutional authority to do whatever they want, and they haven't done any of this stuff that would actually in any way?
They have in health. They have in health.
Oh,
I'll give you a few.
They've hurt. I mean,
I'll give you
like just even most recently, they have rolled back meat processing, for that matter. There was a huge antitrust case against the meat packers. And
Trump is definitely like
a defense attorney who's now the head of the DOJ, basically just let them walk away from what was clearly a case that was going to be found to they have violated antitrust. You see the consolidation of big ag across the country.
But do you think this is unique to his administration? It's not.
I think it's
you do. I don't think so at all.
Intensity,
and I would tell you, okay.
But also, that's not a defense of anything, right? Like if I told you, hey, by the way, this person just did something horrible, you're like, yeah, but like other people have also done that thing. Yeah. Right. that doesn't make either of them good. That you probably we should be working on making sure that future governments don't do this anymore.
I mean, because all of these
I've worked for numerous administrations, though, Sam. I worked with the Clintons. I worked with the Obama administration on this. I don't actually work with
That makes this more embarrassing, not less.
With Obama on antitrust, without a doubt. But under the Biden administration, all of these antitrust cases were lined up, and the Trump administration has basically just ejected them. I mean, that's it.
But I'm not arguing with you about that. If you're asking me what I see.
Right, but because it's not convenient. And you're also not listening, because Sam is bringing up a really important point. If you cared, like every right-winger I've heard just endlessly go off about DOGE, then we're like, hey, some of the things that DOGE is cutting is going to result in hundreds of thousands of children dying. They're like, well, fuck them. Like, why do I have to pay for that shit? We're getting rid of the bloat. We're not supporting all of the third world anymore. This is America first. This is fucking nationalism. We got to do this to protect the country. And also, apparently, I might get a paycheck at the very end of this. I don't know. They're saying they're going to give us all a DOGE check. Maybe. We'll see. Stay tuned. This shit is so fucking gross, right? Because it's like, do you care about corruption? Here's a lot of examples of them. The rich don't pay their fair share of taxes by a monstrously huge margin, to the point where it actually damages society. Like, there's been so many examples in the United States where it's just like, hey, here's a pilot initiative. We tax the ultra wealthy a very small amount, let's say 1%. There is no change structurally to society. The super rich remain the super rich. They don't lose anything. They don't lose their mansions, their yachts, their blah, blah, blah. Every single one of them has such an obscene amount of concentrated wealth that just the simple 1% program, what can we do with it? It pays for an entire school lunch program for all the children in the state. Every single child in the state will no longer go hungry. And all we had to do was just change one thing different from the day before we were doing that, was tax the rich a crumb, just a crumb, and now child starvation's over. That's monstrously huge. This data point should make everyone excited. Everyone. Because none of us are that level of wealthy. And guess what? I'm sorry to every single weird lib and right-wing capitalist. We never will be. Like, when people talk about abolishing billionaires, and then you're like, oh, but what about the good ones? It's like, you're never going to be this thing. No, there's nothing you can do. Like, come on, to be this level of you haven't wrapped your head around how filthy rich a billionaire is. Like, I don't think you know how filthy rich someone who has $500 million is, let alone $100 million. Someone who has $50 million is rich as fuck, okay? And we're talking about dozens of these people need to combine all their wealth, and they're still not close to a fucking billionaire. It's maddening. Like, it's money beyond the scope of human comprehension. It's like trying to get you to understand what's it like for a single grain of sand on the beach in relativity to the rest of the earth Earth, and then you're like, like, yeah, no, we can't comprehend it. We need visual imagery. That's why people keep showing you those things, right? Like, okay, so say this is like 1,000, right? So this is 1,000,000, which is this tower. Okay, so I can't show you what 1 billion looks like in the space I have in this cube that I'm streaming on right now. I don't have enough room to show you the line as it just goes up unbelievably for fucking, you know, as long as you can scroll to make $1 billion. It's so much money. So like when we get down to it, we're all on the same team. Like all of us globally, everywhere. I'm talking about the majority of humanity. Just 0.00000000000000001% of the world is in the other category. Yes, okay, they have to worry about this. Yes, true. This will affect them. This would, but even the ones that were moderate, like the 1% that paid for all the school lunch programs, like they get to stay the richest human beings on the planet. That's the other part about this that like really gets me, is like when you get down to it, it's like, yeah, it's true. Like, you know, fundamental shifts in societal structure can lead to instability, especially for a ruling class that may have their authority challenged. I understand. This was not that. This is like nothing changes. You stay the richest motherfuckers ever and will be able to do whatever the fuck you want in perpetuity forever. But now the only difference is children don't starve anymore. Do you see how important this is? Like the fact that if we just take a very small amount of your unbelievably concentrated accrued wealth, we can fix the world in all capacities. It's always just like, we have an energy problem. We have an energy crisis. We have a water problem. We have a water crisis. Well, I mean, where's it all going? Where's all the water and the energy going? It really seems like a lot of it is being consumed in all these data centers. And it's like, well, yeah, we're in the middle of a drought. We need to build more data centers because we need more data, like all this kind of shit. People, I think, they've lost their imaginations. I don't know how else to put it, where you can have someone like Jillian Jacobs not like understand the simplicity of that. Like you say right now that what's fundamental to you and at your core, that like what's the biggest, most important part of this whole debate is ending corruption, because you find that to be vile. And she's like, yeah, at the end of the day, that's it. And you'll even potentially sacrifice hundreds of thousands of children's lives if you know at your core that this is not corrupt money being sent to all these dying children, and there's not some of it being put into the pockets of fat cats and stuff like that. You believe that so much, and then it's like, so you're talking about pennies in relativity to who is actually corrupt, who is actually stealing trillions, right? Trillions globally, internationally. When you look at the ultra wealthy, when you look at how wealth has been concentrating over the years, when you look at now, we have more wealth inequality than the Gilded Age. Like, yeah, we have cool technology and stuff, and our life expectancy is better. I wouldn't want to live in that time, but it's also pretty fucked up just as like an indicator as to how bad we're doing if we have more wealth inequality than the Gilded Age. Come on.
I see evil, and I see the need to pick a lesser one. If there's a different option, that would be wonderful. I'm not actually.
Well, then thank fuck, because okay, here it is, the ultimate trolley problem for all of the weird people who haven't been able to wrap their heads around that. The billionaires are doing more evil on a scale that is not even comparable. If you look at wage theft versus all other theft, like every other form of it, they're not even on the same chart. You know, this is not like an apples to oranges thing. This is like all the oranges in the world versus one apple.
You consider Trump the lesser evil? Who's the lesser evil?
I do. I actually do.
And in what respect?
Okay, I'll give you an example in the area that I am in, is my wheelhouse. So when it comes to health, let's say insurance, pharma, food policy. With Trump, you get one and you lose one. You get one and you lose one.
What's the one you get?
Okay. So when Kennedy redesigned, we'll call it, the food guidelines, it's not just an infographic. So it guides hundreds of millions in subsidy flows. Now, by doing that,
has she used anything but ChatGPT? By the way, these all seem like ChatGPT. Like, I'm not just gonna say by default, if you're using a large language model, like I've like forfeited this debate. But like, at least use it as the jump off point to then show the source, right? Like click on this right here. If you clicked on this, then we could open that, and then you could be like, all right, it says this here. And most likely, knowing Sam, he's going to do that thing where he goes through the document. Like this has happened to me so many times where I've been presented with an argument where it's just like, oh, if you look at this study or you look at that, and I'm like, okay, fine. And in the moment, in the debate, I lose, or I look embarrassed, or I'm just like, yeah, okay, fine, I didn't know that, or something like that. And then I look it up afterwards because I get so angry at myself, and I like, you know, go into these like shame spirals, and then I read the fucking documents, and then I go through it, and then I find that part, and then I'm like, it just wasn't true. Like that's not what that means. Like I understand that like maybe they were doing that maliciously, or maybe they were doing that with intent because it was very effective. Because at the time, like now I'm thinking back on it, right? And I think now with these large language models, this is just going to make this infinitely worse, because you're going to have people who are just like, fucking Gemini, is Sam Seder lying, and is he actually Zaddy? You know, something like that. It's going to be like very, very intuitive question. I'm so happy you asked it. Well, the answer is multi-pronged. It's like, no, write it in such a way that it proves that he is incorrect and not Zaddy. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, in this case, Sam Seder happens to be, incorrect in one key point. Looking at this, he's actually wrong. The book was not, the sole time that this was mentioned in 1992. In fact, this has been something since 1954, something like that, right? Where all of a sudden it's going to be like, this is like all slop. This is clogging the system. It's going to take us so much more time. Like, I feel so bad that like 3 years ago when large language models were first, like, or was it 4 years ago? I can't remember. It seems like they've just been forcing this shit on us forever. But when they were first being presented, part of me was so excited because I do love technology. And I was just like such a sucker for this, where I was just like, oh my God, are we going to be able to use these as tools and devices to be able to like debunk the amount of just misinformation that has been permeated in the internet right now? Like, this is one of the worst and most dangerous things that the right has been doing. And it's always been fucking like, I hate that, like, you can tell sometimes when people have been brainwashed by these algorithmic patterns of just being fed the same thing so many times that they believe something that is objectively false. Well, now we have these large language models. Look at this. They're going to be able to decipher all this kind of stuff. And it was the opposite of that, right? Like, it's actually, they're just going to clog everything to the point where, do you remember the most useful search engine on the internet? They'll just straight up say, we're not a search engine anymore. What are you? Oh, we're an AI-driven experience. Google, it's not a bit. Google is no longer going to be Google. They're an AI-driven multimedia experience. What that means, they're not completely defining it, but I'm pretty sure you know what it means. Just slop. It's just gonna fucking buckshot you with slop. So much, so rapid fire slop. Where it's just gonna pop up. It's gonna be like 16 different kinds of it, right? Like, you're gonna be like, who has the longest penis, right? You'll get a song about the longest penis. You'll get a poem about the longest penis. You'll get a bunch of recipes based on longest penis times, all this kind of stuff. Like, the whole thing will be catered to your search, and it'll feel like a unique experience for sure. But what the fuck are we doing here? Why do I go to the site at all then? It's like, do you want kind of like a 30% confidently wrong, unintuitive nightmare? Do you want that? Do you want that for your internet from now on? No. No part of me wants that. Sorry, do you mean for my enemies? Are you suggesting as a weapon, like, that I should use to torture others? Because in that case, well, yeah, that does sound pretty terrible. But no, that's Google now. That's actually what Google's about to become. And then it's like, all right, well, at least we have a couple other large language models that we can use to feed in the information from these clearly large language model generated responses, so then I can use them to try and navigate the internet again. I mean, like, the test use case that is rapidly becoming clear for large language models is it's going to be the only way you can actually try and decipher internet anymore, is that you're just going to be force-fed so much slop that your own mind can't, like, completely, like, computate, like, process in real time. So you're like, oof, I'm overwhelmed with things. It's making me angry, horny, hungry, sad, like, all the emotions, but it's really driving the ones that are keeping me attentive, and for some reason I can't look away. I need to see more. And for other people, I mean, it's going to be custom catered. For some of you, it might be that you need to see, like, really, really aggressive historical paintings, right? And you just need to have a lot of them fed at you. Like, oh my God, I just can't believe I'm seeing so much Dali right now. It's just, like, blowing my mind. But for other people, it might be titties. For other people, it might be, I don't know, apples. But whatever it is, they're going to figure that out pretty quick and just know how to spray you in the face with it rapidly. So instead of, like, looking something up, like, the days of going to a computer with a request and then getting an answer are done. That whole thing, that's old school shit. All right, we don't do that anymore. It's just all launch pads. It's like you sit down, you look at something, you have a thought, maybe something that might draw you into the old phone, right? Like someone might say, like, hey, I can't remember, like who was the fastest runner? Was it Usain Bolt? I can't remember exactly. Maybe I'll go on the internet to find out. 3 hours later, exhausted, drained, fucking like. Oh shit, fuck. What were we looking up? Jesus Christ, what day is it? What month is it? Whew, wow, I think I learned something or other. I feel I've been probed in one way or another, but thanks, Google, Jesus Christ. What's that? I lost my job? Oh, but yeah, there's no point in that anymore. I mean, I have to get back into the sweet, sweet Google Media AI experience, giving you everything at once. Everything. Just so much information, so much original content being generated based on one search query.
Designing it, what he's forcing is
3 hours later, we finally get back to the video. Hey, come on. That was a good rant. We needed one, all right? I've been doing this for 2 hours and 23 minutes now. I've had to listen to Jillian Jacobs explain to me why kids dying's okay as long as Elon Musk gets to speak for a little while.
More of our tax dollars to go towards healthier food, and he's forcing areas, food deserts. Okay, so what's going to fund? What is the food pyramid fund, right? It's going to fund lunch for our kids in school, military, it's prisons, all that stuff. That's what guides what gets fed to your kids in public school, for example, or our soldiers in the military. By changing that, we're forcing the funding of healthier options, and we're forcing their availability into 250, I think Brooke Rollins said 250,000.
Oh, I did it again. Sorry, Jillian Michaels. Jillian Michaels. I don't know. I apologize. I have no idea why Jillian Jacobs is catching so many strays. Jillian Michaels. Jillian Michaels. All right. My brain's only operating at 25% right now. All right. She has drained every last comprehensive neuron that I had. My ability to be articulate and speak rapidly for you all is disintegrating at a rapid pace. I can't even do impressions anymore. Have you heard where my Alex Jones is at? It's not what Alex Jones sounds like at all. That sounded more like Alex Jones. Oh my God, I'm regressing into Alex Jones right now.
We have food deserts. That's a win. Wait.
So how are the food deserts being? I mean,
because they take SNAP. Because they take SNAP.
Mamdani, first of all, this administration has kicked.
AI is fine with dealing with closed data sets. Yes, and I'll be honest with you. Don't worry, this is not a rant, but I wish that's all they said, which is the truth. That would be refreshing, would it not? Not that these are the future god masters of us all that are going to like take over the planet and replace the totality of the workforce. If y'all were just honest, these are neat little nifty tricks that can do some fun stuff, but more than anything, they're really good at analyzing closed data sets. And they do that very well, and they do that in a way that could benefit humanity. Done. Hey, you know, as long as you don't build so many data centers more than we have drinkable water, and we actually try to have a balance here between like the things that we need and use in society versus just capitalist endless growth models, which is what we're currently doing. I mean, we could have a much more reasonable conversation about the use of this technology. Instead, it has been a nonstop avalanche of slop and just endless kind of like, you'll take this shit and love it. And like, I get that it's implemented into parts of our society you might not even know about. And I gotta stop myself. I can't not get mad about it.
Tons of people. I mean, 3 to 4 million people off of SNAP.
Okay,
and more,
let's go through. So what do you agree with about that, and what don't you? I'll tell you what I don't agree with about.
Mamdani is actually literally addressing food deserts with the city-owned supermarkets.
Okay, Sam, we could definitely look at the economics of Mamdani. They've done it before in New York in the 70s, and it didn't work. And that supermarket is $30 million for one market. It happens in 4 years when his term is up. Just to be
Mexico. They do it in Mexico. I think like something like 30% of the entirety of their supermarket systems, especially for remote areas and hard to reach areas, are done with government owned and community subsidized supermarkets in Mexico. It works. It's fine. It did not increase mass starvation as the system was implemented because everyone went full commie and died.
Go more aggressively on it. I'm with you on that. But so
I don't think it works, but I would definitely get into
RFK in changing the food pyramid is going to deal with food deserts? How is that happening?
Okay, here's how it happens. If a place that takes SNAP benefits, right? If they take SNAP benefits, they are forced to offer what the guidelines recommend. I could even find you, if someone could find me a clip, like Brooke Rollins says she is going to demand now that 250,000 locations carry healthier options. Can I guarantee?
Well, how is she going to demand
because
that?
if they take, you can't take SNAP if you don't offer the food on the.
The market solution here is we've subsidized food purchases.
Yes.
And if we don't allow,
I'd like to subsidize healthier food. The food pyramid directs those subsidy flows. So by
you would have to argue that there is enough of a margin for those people to.
For anyone who doesn't like watch enough American news to understand why she's so hung up on this, part of the Maha movement is that they literally just took the South Park meme and they flipped the food pyramid upside down, and by doing that they fixed it. So for things that you were supposed to basically reduce your intake because they can be unhealthy for you and cause things like heart disease, really high amounts of meat, sugar, salts, and fats, well, they flip it around, eat all the fucking meat that you can. Like, you get as much meat into your body. That's the whole meme. And then, you know, RFK Jr., I think, like, the White House or one of the accounts, like, literally posted, like, they did the meme, lol. And it's like, well, no, you saw that, and then you just thought it would be super epic if you, like, you know, implemented it as a health policy. But that's like just the level of clownery that's going on there.
Acquire the foods that you're talking about without any other
beef tallow
just
shit.
that the market forces there are going to do it, so that these small bodegas that may exist in these food deserts, for instance, they're gonna buy the fresh fruit and produce.
If they take
without
SNAP,
any other
they
incentive.
have to offer the food that the pyramid recommends.
The SNAP, their only eligibility is associated with having to offer those, and you think that there is any type of enforcement mechanism that's going to.
By the way, I also think this shit is grotesque. Like, obviously, you know, you can tell how you know, dehumanized and polluted her brain has become from interacting exclusively with right wingers. Because who gives a fuck? Like, I don't give two fucks if people who can't afford food use the food stamp for candy. Who gives a shit? I'm not the one eating it. Like, it's not my life. Like, why is it that just because they it's already bad enough that someone can't afford food. That part fucking sucks. But then you have to be like, yeah, but you better not spend it on soda, fatty, because then you're getting fat off the government teat, you know, all that kind of shit. It's like, why do you care? How does this affect you?
Come in and do that.
I do.
What is the enforcement mechanism?
What do you think
What's
about
the budget that's
what do you
been
think about
added
food
to
in
the
schools?
FDA
How
to
do you
do
think
that?
how do you think that flows? What directs that? What directs food in schools? What directs the food that we feed to the military?
What directs it?
Yeah, like what informs if your kid went to a public school, what would inform what's on their plate?
Well, in New York City, I mean, it's programs that are city-based. Now, certainly there's...
I mean, not even trying to hide it at this point. Oh, that's funny.
Federal money available for specific schools.
Public schools are the food in front of your kid, if they go to a public school, is directed by the food pyramid. That's why it's more than just an infographic.
I get it. I can tell you, though, that the food varies from public school to public school, having sent two.
Even if that's the case, why exactly is that so bad? The food pyramid. Gotta go back to school. The healthy eating pyramid. And then we can look at the new one. Okay, let's look at the old one. That's beta and cucked. Department of Nutrition. So use sparingly red meat and butter, refined grains, white bread, rice and pasta, sugary drinks and sweets, and salt. So yeah, stuff that is usually generally accepted to be unhealthy for you in large quantities, and that if you consume large volumes of it, you are going to result in more complications and health problems, especially later on in your life, including cardiac disease. That's pretty much accepted by the totality of the scientific community. Yeah. And then at the bottom, that you should eat lots of things like vegetables and fruits, very high in vitamins, antioxidants, whole grains, wheat, healthy fats and oils such as olive oil. Delicious, by the way. I mean, you cannot ask for a more delicious thing to be able to have more of if you want to have more fat, a much more healthier form of fat than the ones you get at the very top. Nuts, seeds, beans, and tofu. Yes, all, I would say empirically more healthy for you to eat, especially as a source of fiber. And then, this one sucks because I happen to be a person who does not like seafood, but pescatarians are correct in that seafood, principally as a meat and a source of protein, is generally healthier than, say, pork or beef, especially. It is lower in fat. This is what it is, but this apparently is what is evil, insidious, and detrimental. So now let's introduce you to the new food pyramid for the Alpha Boys. The Alpha Boys are back. Back. Protein, dairy, healthy fats, right at the top. Hell yeah, brother. Get yourself a full roast chicken. Get yourself a little bit of Swiss over there, some ground beef, full-blown steak. Chug that shit down with some whole milk, and then you get the olive oil. I mean, I'm surprised I guess, yeah, this is relatively flipped. Not totally properly flipped, though, for being completely clear. Like, I mean, I don't need to show you the old image, right? But they haven't necessarily flipped it upside down. This one's kind of rotated it. So, yeah. Yeah, it's silly. It's all very silly, and it'll probably get a lot of people very unhealthy. Like, if children are having nutritional information based on this, I mean, this is like, isn't this your wheelhouse? Shouldn't you know this? Like, isn't this very, very... I didn't take any classes in nutrition or anything like that, but, like, you know, I can tell you, based on reading a lot about this at different points, being very unhealthy or being very overweight in my life and trying to find out what is a way to lose weight effectively, one of them is dramatically changing your diet and to eat less meat and eating way more vegetables and having a much more vegetarian-based diet is one of the things that I think was the biggest factor in losing weight in my life. That and, like, you know, cutting down on drinking are probably the two biggest things. If you're like, you know, one thing that you could change in your life that'll actually effectively change that this is it in terms of, like, you know, having more energy, feeling more healthy, you know, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it is as easy as choosing something that is also cheaper, by the way. That's the other wild thing. This stuff is a lot cheaper on the bottom end of the pyramid than everything that is processed, but it's the processed stuff that has all the fun addictive shit in it that, like, obviously, you know, deep fried foods, salts, fats, sugars, all that shit. The reason we love it and crave it is because it is very rare in nature, and that's why it gives us a lot of sweet reward systems in our brain chemistry.
Kids to public school in New York City, it is a function of a lot of things. It is not just one set of foods. And yes, I get that the food pyramid does that, but
I'll give you two other examples. I'll give you two other examples. How about
the FDA has not issued a single new food regulation. The FDA has not banned a single chemical in any food.
That's not true. They banned one, and they're reevaluating the grass rule. That's not true. So now, so the way the grass rule works,
they have asked the industry to remove certain dyes. And
they have 3 years, I believe, to do that, and that is not enough. There are thousands of chemicals.
It's not actually her house. The nutritional information that was done on the show, the nutrition and dietary advice on the show she was on was done by people on the screen. Her wheelhouse was being mean to people to try and get them to keep running. Hold on. Being mean to people to try and get them to keep running after they'd severely injured their knees or ankles on the extreme workouts as long as the show ran. Wow. I've never actually watched a full season of The Biggest Loser because it all just, like, the clips alone I've seen in terms of, like, I know all reality TV is just terrible. It's bad for the production crews. It's bad for the actors. It's bad for the, like, you know, everyone from the top on down. Basically, the only people reality is good for is executives, is fucking networks, because they make so much money off of it. But even by the standards of reality TV, The Biggest Losers seem particularly mean. Like, they would take all these people, many of whom were, like, severely overweight, and they would have, like, temptation fridges for them, where they would have all of their favorite foods and things in a 24/7 available fridge, with, like, you know, obviously cameras and lighting directly on it to be able to show, like, the shame cam, you know, as all these people would, like, go over, like, look at this morbidly obese, like, little vermin here eating the sweet cream that she loves so much. You're just like, that's fucked up. Like, this shit is so hard to do, let alone to do it and just dangle temptation over everyone the entire time, right? Like, yeah, oh, you want this burger, don't you? You crave it. I want it so bad. I'm so unhappy. The show is so stressful. I can't sleep. I am so miserable. Yeah, you want it, don't you? Like, that shit, like, that's fucked up. That's really, really fucked up.
It's an ask. Okay.
I don't believe so. Red number, I think it's 40. It has to be removed within several years.
I'm in favor of it, but I think that, like, when you see what's going on with Monsanto, when you see what's going on with Roundup, when you see all these different things, I'm very skeptical. But I get
as you should be, but it does not mean. I'll give you two other examples. Okay, so the grass rule, which is the generally recognized.
She's yet to provide an actual tangible example to anything she's actually talking about. By the way,
just vouch for the safety of the chemicals on their product. So Kennedy is closing that door. He's closing the grass loophole. That, to me, is a good thing. I'll take it. I haven't gotten anything like it out of any administration I've ever worked with. I'll give you another one. Pharmacy benefit managers. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this at all, and it's confusing. So I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just trying to explain it. I'm just trying to explain to the audience.
I know very much about PBMs.
Okay. So now they're forcing the clawback.
I'm not trying to be condescending. Don't worry, you're not. It's infinitely sadder the fact that you don't know what you're talking about, but you're speaking about it from a position of authority.
To go back to the patient instead of the insurance company. That's a good thing. Dr. Oz is going after the pre-authorizations, which people end up dying waiting for things to be authorized through their insurance. Like, these are things, I haven't seen anything like it. And
a lot of the work on the PBMs was started under the Biden administration. The negotiating with Medicare that the Trump administration is one of the few things
no
that
work
they've
with
embraced.
PBMs. Show me the work that the Biden administration did on PBMs.
Oh, I'll show you.
Show me. That's actually completely news to me. I haven't seen any laws they passed blocking that kind of vertical integration. If they did, amazing.
The FTC released 2 major interim reports investigating PBM
That's an
market
investigation.
power.
What did they
Well,
change?
Listen, this is the way that the government works. This is what government does. I'm not done.
Okay. All right. What did
They
change?
filed an administrative complaint against 3 of the largest PBMs, CBS,
What
Express, and Optum.
changed?
Medicare Part D rules implemented new rules in 2024 to regulate how PBMs operate within Medicare Part D.
Used AI to confirm your bias. I didn't read the prompt in time. I was trying to read the AI results that she was using to prove her point. That one moves so quickly. Here we are. Did Joe Biden actually pass legislation related to pharmacy benefit managers? The takeaway, PBMs aggressively tried to use premium increases and economic pressure to validate the recovery for lost fee revenue, while the federal government successfully spent billions in subsidies to artificially freeze those premium spikes for seniors and traditional Medicare. Commercial employers and employees are still absorbing the financial blowbacks through higher administrative surcharges and rising workplace minimums. Although, I have no idea, what is your source here? Is it just another prompt?
Down, and the PBMs lost their rebates on it. They retaliated by just burying those cheaper drugs in higher cost tiers. And then they added prior authorization hurdles. And when junk fees got banned at the pharmacy counter, they just raised monthly premiums to recoup the loss. And the result was a marginal change at best. So when the first round of negotiated prices finally took effect in 26, they covered only 10 drugs and saved roughly 3 cents on every dollar. And by law, not 1 cent of savings actually reached anyone on a commercial insurance plan. The Trump administration looked at that track record and they went after the mechanism itself. And this is what I mean when I say I sat in the rooms where it was discussed. The Consolidated Appropriations Act, signed February 2026 under the Trump administration, does 3 things the Inflation Reduction Act never attempted. It legally delinks PBM compensation from drug prices and rebates, forcing flat fees, destroying their...
Oh, is this just her narrating her AI results again? It is! Jesus! I thought she was actually talking in real time for a second. I was like, wait a minute. I feel like I'm listening to a fucking chatbot. What it does... Oh my God.
Condoleezza Rice, that was under no circumstance should you add Ukraine to NATO. It is a hard about Iran.
We attacked Iran. We did. We did not attack Russia.
This is the part I've been waiting for this whole time.
That leaked the memo from Burns to Condoleezza Rice saying,
took an hour and 26 minutes to get here.
So if you're going to say Trump is a president of war, I don't actually agree with you. I don't think so.
I'm talking about Iran.
Okay, let's talk about Iran.
We attacked Iran. We did. We did not attack Russia.
True.
You understand? You're comparing providing defensive weaponry to Ukraine
is this
literally bombing another country.
My feeling on Iran right now is that we don't really know how it's going to turn out. So far.
What do you mean we don't know how it's going to turn out?
Okay,
we already know right now.
I don't agree with you.
That we have killed thousands of civilians. We have expended...
with thousands of civilians. We've killed thousands of Iranian civilians on the street.
We've killed thousands of Iranians.
Yes.
Civilians or the IRGC?
Civilians.
I don't think that's controversial at all.
No.
Really? All right. Team, have we killed thousands of Iranian civilians?
Is team what you've called your chatbot? Because this is another fucking chatbot response. At least this one didn't waste any time in being like, yes, thousands.
There was some skepticism over a school.
There's skepticism over that school?
Yes.
I mean, against people who want to deny war crimes. Amongst that crowd, well, yeah, as you would expect.
I don't even think the U.S. government has denied it. They just said that it shouldn't have been near a base.
They've said that they think that it was probably an IRGC missile potentially hitting the school.
When you say,
there's no
sorry, when you say
defined-
they, I feel like you are propagating Zionist Hasbara from like months ago that even like right-wingers moved on from at this point. Like they even right-wingers or even Zionists for the most part have started being like, I'd just rather not speak about that one. It does look pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, like multiple independent investigations have shown that was most likely the United States and a war crime by definition. Yeah, just a mass slaughter of kids.
Because I tried to find it. How
Oh my
many?
God. I mean, the level
It was a Tomahawk. We don't sell those to Iran.
delusion
Really?
to argue that somehow we're not engaged in a war and that
I
it could
do
work
think-
out okay.
I do think it could work out okay,
Like
Sam.
you're to the right of you know,
Has the U.S. killed?
Oh, sorry, is the producer of the show showing her results on ChatGPT that are happening back and forth here in real time? But like they're not. I don't think he's proofreading any of these. Because like there are times when it just pops up on camera. I'm like, yeah, the link that you're providing directly validates what Sam is saying right now. Do you not realize that? Because it's actually kind of embarrassing for you to put that on screen in some form of like, hey, gotcha.
significant portion of the Republican Party. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Let's see. How many civilians have we killed? Okay. So how many do you think it is?
I feel like this is Sam Altman's wet dream become manifest. Just like human beings having to have very serious geopolitical discussions and then wanting to know what is reality based on chatbot fucking prompts rather than even having a conversation at all and listening to another human being, right? Like she hasn't heard, I think, half of the things that Sam has said, where there's been times when I've just been like, it doesn't make sense to me unless this is like... Is this whole thing an act? Are they both in on this? Is Sam in on this? Did they meet up beforehand? Is this a script? I like. Why else would you do something so embarrassing as to consistently be like, Sam, can I give you another example? Okay, hold on. It's sorry, I'm thinking. Sorry, I have to put in more credits. Yeah, sorry, no, it's. Okay, Sam, it appears right here, it says, based on, again, information, which I think you're supposed to be kind of keen on, right? 1,700, confirmed civilian deaths in Iran so far as a result of the U.S. Military operation. Right. That's, as I was saying to you. Yeah, we have killed thousands of civilians. Right, yeah, no, definitely. So can I raise another point? Am I allowed to talk about this? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about Afghanistan?
How many do I think it is?
Yeah.
I think we've killed probably thousands.
Okay, the Manab school strike is the first thing that comes up. The primary incident under U.S. military investigation is a strike on an all-girls school near Manab, which killed at least 156 to 175. Okay, urban strikes. Independent documentation from news outlets like the Mehr News Agency notes specific incidents, like an attack on Tehran's Nilofar Square. I don't know if this is us. That killed 20 civilians.
Human Rights says 1,700 civilian deaths. Civilians. Tens of thousands have been wounded, supposedly. I mean, I don't think we
Tens
can
of
know
thousands
exactly.
of civilians or IRGC? Which I don't really, to be honest, I don't really feel bad if the IRGC, who's hanging teenagers.
I mean, this is, I know, not as advanced as ChatGPT, but I was trying to read the Wikipedia article. I'm old school about this. Khomeini acknowledged that thousands of people had been killed during the protests, blaming American President Donald Trump for the massacres, calling those leading the riots affiliated with the United States and Israel. The Iranian government put the death toll at 3,117, stating that 2,447 civilians were and security forces and the rest were terrorists. The government published the official list of the victims. I think they're still talking about the protests prior to the bombing. Iran stated that it had its own confirmed list of 6,000 deaths. background, protests, casualty table, around international opposition. Yeah, but this isn't the actual bombing, is it? No, these are the protests. Give me 1 second.
I don't really feel bad if they're being killed. I'd rather see the IRGC not beat women to death for their hair sticking out of their hijab.
Jesus. Or
engage in sexual torture. Like, I don't really feel bad about the IRGC.
That was exactly how we were sold to go into Afghanistan too.
But we don't.
Militaryspend.org puts its civilian deaths, all sides, between 1768 and 3,749 currently. Military and civilian casualties from the U.S.-Iran war, Operation Epic Fury, worst source of conflict, confidence flags for independent verifications is limited, casualties by both sides, obviously going to be very high for Iran. Military killed 1,800 to 7,650. Senior commanders killed 48 to 52. Military 4,200. Iranians killed civilians 1,700 to 3,636. Israeli civilians killed 28. Gulf states, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Oman. I mean, like, obviously, I think for anyone with conscience, like, one is too many. But no matter how you look at it, it's an absolute atrocity. I don't see how any of this is defensible on any level. Even if she's like, well, I mean, 1,700 isn't exactly thousands. It's like, okay, so over 1,000. But you'd agree that this is bad, I guess, right? Because she thought it was what, like dozens? She's like, what? We've killed civilians? Killed how many civilians? What, like civilians on the street? And he's like, yeah. Lots of them. that's not something that people are debating. That's not something that people are like trying to hide. Like, that's something that like is openly being accepted, and it's one of those things where if you actually press a Republican or a warmonger on this kind of stuff, they're like, well, I mean, obviously any civilian casualties are things that we'd like to avoid, but this is war, and war is unfortunately it's ugly.
We don't have boots on the ground
in Afghanistan.
We've lost 14 million soldiers. We're in the process of a negotiation. Are we not?
How many?
14 soldiers? Our soldiers?
Wait, did I mishear that? I heard 14 million.
14 million soldiers.
She did say 14 million. What? Did she? Maybe she thought dollars? She was confusing dollars and soldiers? I don't know. That's a weird glitch.
Exactly how we were sold to go into Afghanistan too.
But we don't, Sam, we don't have boots on the ground.
In Afghanistan.
We've lost 14 million soldiers. We're in the process of a negotiation. Are we?
I mean, America. That sounds like it's multiple times the totality of what I thought your standing army was. What's the standing military of the U.S.? United States standing military strength, according to Global Firepower, it's ranked 1 out of 145. Breakdown at a glance. Manpower. Oh, this is force balance. I don't know how to read this shit. I'm not military. That's so many 9/11s. It's a lot of 9/11s. We technically do have the boots on the ground in Iran. The pilots that got shot down on the special forces. Well, there's 2 people that are currently MIA, isn't it? Standing military. Consolidation. 1.2 million. So that would be almost 10 times the entire standing U.S. military. She was
14 soldiers? Our soldiers?
Oh, I thought you said 14 million.
14 soldiers.
We've lost, we're spending billions upon billions of dollars.
First of all,
that I know you were so concerned about.
Okay,
we're going to end up
do you know
exactly
that
at the best case we could end up
fraud in California?
JPCOA.
Just a fraction of the fraud in California. I do think. Tell me something. I have a question for you. Why would Iran enrich uranium to up to 60%? Why? We have that independently verified.
That was, I think she's tried to start like 3 different debates in one there. You're going to have to choose a lane at a certain point.
Why would they, why would they store it?
Why would they enrich it? Why would they enrich it to up to 60%? Why?
Because it's leverage.
Well, you want them to have that leverage? I don't want them to have that leverage.
They didn't start to do this.
Okay. Why do you keep asking questions and you just not want the answers?
Until Trump...
I don't like that. Cool. All right. What are we doing?
That's not
unilaterally got out of the JPCOA.
That is not true.
It is true.
No, it isn't.
And they built up their stockpiles. They
so Iran has never been a threat. They haven't chanted death to America. They haven't had a nuclear program. It hasn't been a problem for years.
They haven't had a nuclear program outside of starting to store this enrichment.
So they enriched it because of Trump. Okay, so that's the reason.
No, they didn't enrich it because of Trump. Trump was the one who took us out of the deal. That if we're lucky, we will get back to.
Why did he take us out of the deal, Sam?
Because he resented that Obama signed it. I have no idea.
Sam,
because there were also people in his administration who wanted to have more of a conflict with Iran, and it wasn't until his second term where he had more toadies that he was able to. And so Iran, had they a nuclear weapon, I think we probably would not be bombing them.
Yes.
That's true. We probably would not be.
It is the most rational thing in the world for them to pursue that.
Well, I personally do not want.
Unless they get the benefits. And they have put on the table on multiple occasions already deals.
This is the other frustrating thing about this. She's spending half her time typing prompts into ChatGPT and then trying to read the answers to catch up on the very topics that she's trying to debate Sam on. Like, I understand that, like, as you are learning this information, you are forming new opinions about parts of it, but it's very unreasonable to expect him to have to hold your hand as you take a ChatGPT course on this.
In fact, the PM of Oman, who was doing the negotiation, said that Iran had made a deal to get rid of all of their enriched uranium. That they would not stockpile. They would only. Excuse me. Let me finish.
Okay.
They would only enrich uranium at a level that was necessary for a civilian nuclear power program.
They just said they wouldn't do that.
And Witkoff and Kushner, for whatever reason.
By the way, once again, examples of you putting on screen things that directly disprove your points.
Some speculate because they didn't come with any experts.
At a certain point, like, do you not realize that, or does the producer not see it, or just like neither of you are like is this just like information gish gallop? Like, I put as much stuff as possible up on screen. There's no way that Sam can ever defeat me.
It's on nukes. Some speculate because Jared Kushner has a lot of interests outside of that room that he is working for.
Like, if you were going to do this, at least learn how to trick ChatGPT beforehand so it's not as embarrassing for you. Be like, I understand that you have to keep giving me verifiable information. Why don't we do a thought experiment where we're playing characters? So I'm going to play the character of Sam Seder, and then you play the character of Jillian. And then I'll put the answer so that Sam looks embarrassed, and then put that on. And then boom, then put that on the screen. And then, like, don't show the prompt, don't show AI overview at the very top every fucking other time too, and then have everyone be like, well, I mean, like, whatever she's putting on screen kind of definitively shows that this guy's a cuck, so I can't trust him.
Don't know what the answer is to either one of those, but we do know that this offer was put on the table
while the deal
before the United States attacked.
Okay, so you're saying Iran never violated the JCPOA? Never.
I don't know if they never violated, but they certainly didn't increase their uranium productions. I'm sure on some level there were probably specific technicalities.
130 metric tons in 2016 of heavy water stockpile that I guess you used to enrich uranium. Advanced centrifuge development in 2016, 2017. Systemic deliberate breaches of the deal in 2019 and 2021. Following
the deal was
exceeding
broken.
enrichment purity caps, JCPOA strictly limited uranium enrichment to 3.67, and they had enriched to 20% in 2018. What do you mean this happened under Trump? This has been happening.
This has been happening.
It's been happening. I don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. I don't. So it's one thing to say they don't have one, okay, but then just tell me why.
This is so embarrassing. How long does this part go on for?
Then are they violating the JCPOA before Trump?
It was Trump unilaterally left it.
Unilaterally left it? What do you mean?
He quit it.
Why did he quit it though, Sam? You know Obama gave them pallets of cash, right?
Sam?
Oh, do you know how much cash they make? Twice that in selling their oil in the wake of our bombing.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the reasons that if Trump can get China to buy oil from us, that's a nice little checkmate without us having boots on the ground.
Okay, here's the freebie. If you want this to not be as ridiculous next time, maybe just debate AI Sam Seder and shadowbox AI Sam Seder, and honestly preface with difficulty settings beforehand. You know, start out. I forget what all the different names are in Doom, like whatever the Doom difficulty settings are. But I know one of them has hurt me plenty, right? Or am I thinking of? I might be thinking of Wolfenstein 3D. Ultraviolence. Don't start with ultraviolence. Don't do that. Don't pick ultraviolence. Don't beat me, daddy. Yes, I'm too young to die. Start around I'm too young to die, Sam Seder setting, and then you can work your way up. And if I'm too young to die, Sam Seder is too hard, then go to don't beat me, daddy, Sam Seder, and then maybe that one is going to be a little bit easier. But like at least then it's just going to be with a chatbot the whole time, not him clearly getting progressively, as is myself, and I'm sure everyone watching me right now, drained at the exhausting process of being like, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I agree. As I imagined you would, had you known that already. But here we are, and I'm glad you had to get there somehow.
I would actually like to see, I think the Iranian regime is a cancer. I think they're the #1 funders of terror. I think they're evil in the atrocities that they commit.
Terror? What?
They don't fund Hamas. They don't fund Hezbollah. Really? They're not the #1 funders of terror in the world?
I meant international terror that would implicate us.
They fund terrorist organizations.
Oh, and by the way, no shade. If I had to debate Sam Seder, I would definitely start on the baby setting. Absolutely. Just to find out, because it's going to be intense, right? You're just going to be like, oh God, it's different to watch Daddy Sam when he comes at you.
I'm not for it.
They fund. I don't know. Hezbollah is more of a militia and a paramilitary.
Okay. Do they fund those groups though? Yes, they're the #1.
They do.
Okay, they're the top disruptive
At a certain point,
force
she's just going to start
in the
making
Middle East.
sounds.
Why would the Saudi?
In what manner?
Well, you tell me. Why does the Saudi Crown Prince say?
I think a lot of people would suggest that Israel is the top disruptive force.
Why does the Saudi Crown Prince say that the Ayatollah was like Hitler? Why? If he's
because he has a rival country and is in competition.
So the Abraham Accords. If this regime ended up falling and you could expand the Abraham Accords, you think that's a bad thing? If they were incapable of funding terrorist organizations, you think that's a bad thing? If
that's true, then why?
I just don't
a
think
new
it's a bad
dictator
thing.
in Iran, would that be better? Is that what you're suggesting? Like the Shah?
I think it'd probably be the same. Oh, the Shah? Who are you talking about? Reza Pahlavi? I don't think that he's as nearly as bad as the Ayatollah.
I'm not saying you should install a new Shah. I'm talking about the old Shah, his father.
I don't think his father was as bad as the Ayatollah, no. I do know that he had like secret police and all of that, but I don't think he was as bad as the Ayatollah, no.
And you do know that it was the United States that put him into power.
Let's actually relitigate that for just a moment.
Relitigate.
So when did that happen?
When did you litigate it?
We went in
1950.
20 years, right. And when did it happen? 1950, right?
I think it was 53, maybe it was 51.
Okay. So there's actually watched the whole thing on this and I would have prepared better for you. But 20 something years later, we weren't involved in that. 20 something years later, after we got involved, 79.
I watched something
years later.
Yes.
I wish I'd prepared for you by remembering the TV show I watched that I'm using as a source in my brain
All right. It's all right.
for something that you don't understand that I'm trying to correlate it to.
I know that we thought that he was like this really good guy, but he actually wasn't.
And getting rid of their democratic elected leader.
Sam, that happened in the 50s, though. The Ayatollah took
yes.
She was watching Argo. Yeah, fair.
I get it.
That makes sense.
Honestly, there's no point in us talking about
this.
I'll
tell you. It's actually really interesting.
Admittedly, this is a totally irrelevant sidebar, but it is.
Why do you keep doing this? I don't even have a problem with you showing your ChatGPT screen on screen, but at least let the debate play organically, please, in the background. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? It just cuts to her. I have to tell you all, I learned something. So I learned that in I don't care. And then she would she's done it okay, this time it's not into a sponsor. So that one just goes into her own opinions, I guess.
Have to do with Trump? I didn't vote for Bush. What does that have to do with any of this?
It is the same agenda that has been operating. This hostility towards Iran and Biden.
Hostility towards Iran. So when they chant death to America, they've killed hundreds of Americans over the last 47 years.
Back into the the JPCOA. And in retrospect, I realized.
So you think Iran's this great regime? No threat, no worry. Don't care if they have nuclear weapons.
This is exactly what they said. This is exactly verbatim. What you're saying to me right now is exactly what they said to people who said we should not be invading Iraq.
Let's go. There are so many differences that it's staggering. We had boots on the ground in Iraq, and there were no weapons of mass destruction.
I was
here.
Not to start. That's not how it started. Like, if you, I have no idea where she stands on that. If she was one of the people who now is like, oh, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have actually been such a fucking saber rattler back then. I really shouldn't have pushed for that war. I now can see the error in my ways. Like some people try to do, like Tucker Carlson, even though he pushes for like whatever the current war is, I'm pretty much on board until it's like, oh wait, no, not that one, but this one for sure. Like, I don't care. That shouldn't matter. But at the end of the day, you have to accept that like that was a decided series of war crimes committed by the United States that were sold to not only their own people but the world under false pretenses, which are now demonstratable. It's like a matter of fact. It's not something that anyone argues outside of hyper neocons, and then at the other end, conspiracy theorists who think none of this is real. Otherwise, like everyone's like, yeah, that was a senseless war where hundreds of thousands of civilians died, that was sold to us under the pretense of something that was simply make-believe. The weapons of mass destruction, or even weaponry of any caliber that you know, Saddam Hussein might have had, were ones that were originally provided to him when he was an ally of the United States. Like, it's one of those things where, what are we doing here? Oh, Sam, I can go off on this. I wait till I remember the movie I saw a couple weeks ago. Then you're fucked. When it comes to me.
We don't have boots on the ground, and there's 60% enriched uranium, and they're funding terror proxies. Night meet day. Totally different.
I see. It's a completely different set of reasons why we're invading this country.
There were no weapons of mass destruction. There's 60% enriched uranium and a failure to comply with the IAEA and a funding of terror proxies. Do you know how long? I'm going to ask you one question. How long to get from 60% to weapons grade?
My understanding, according to Donald Trump, is that we were 2 weeks away.
That does seem to be the number, that the lift from 60% to weapons grade is only a matter of weeks. I'm not, okay.
You know what's wild, seeing or just watching this debate is, you know, obviously there are a lot of different people who are different, you know, political persuasions who also support Israel, right? There are people on the right who support Israel, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Jillian here, and there are people who are liberals. She's in the liberal camp, right? I would say that at least she used to be. Maybe at one point you could say that she's like the center-right liberal, but, you know, approaching this from a kind of like a fake humanity liberal Zionist standpoint, right? Like, it is liberal Zionism to its core. Ultimately, like, look, I don't want kids to die. Obviously, I don't think any of us do, but we have to admit that, I mean, some of these organizations are very scary, and they even sound scary. Hezbollah, like, that's scary sounding, right? Hamas. I mean, if you say it with like that kind of thick accent, Hamas, like, that's scarier too. Like, all of this is frightening. Aren't you frightened, Sam? Aren't you scared of these people? I think, like, I don't want anyone to die, but we need to do what is necessary to keep the world safe. Just like, hey, the Iraq War. That's how it's pitched. We need to do what is necessary to keep the world safe. Just like, hey, the war with Libya. That's how it was pitched. We need to do what is necessary to keep the world safe. You know, all of these super evil baddies, they're only 1 or 2 moves away from destroying the planet, so we need to kill all of the children. It's like, wait, what was the second part? We need to liberate them and spread democracy. Right, but it did feel like you just said kill all the children. That is what's going to happen, isn't it? Aren't a lot of kids going to die? You know, as long as the West is constantly bombing all these other nations, because I'm not here to defend all these horrifying monsters that rule a lot of these countries. Like, we can all agree that they're bad people, but they're bad people who were kind of like key allies of the United States at one point or another, trained, armed by the United States. You know, even the biggest of baddies, Osama bin Laden. Yeah, I mean, they're all friends until they're enemies. That's kind of just how this keeps going. And it keeps getting sold the same way. And if Sam was to point that out, the same thing's happening right now. Like, I mean, like, liberals have to keep telling themselves over and over again, like, you don't have to support Ayatollah Khomeini to know that it's wrong to bomb a school. Why are you adding the first part? Why do you have to add that part? Just stop bombing schools. That's it. Stop bombing the schools. We don't need to rationalize this whole thing. Like, oh, before I make a statement about how it's wrong to kill lots and lots of children, I do have to preface this with, by the way, I condemn Hamas. Oh, thank God. If you hadn't said that, I mean, where would we be, right?
All right. I'll look it up.
You should talk to the CIA.
I actually did speak to somebody from the CIA. That's where I got it from.
There is no reason to have 60%.
We're doing the thing again. We're just randomly getting Come on. You're so close.
Thank you for having me on.
We're gonna.
We're gonna Wait, more ChatGPT. I just want to see the conclusion, okay? I made it this far. I've earned my conclusion. Here we go.
Is the time frame to get from...
Okay. Honestly, I got to go. This has been great. Very edifying. And I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
To weapons grade. I'm just curious. The short answer is a matter of days to roughly 1 to 2 weeks, Sam. That's the answer.
They're days and weeks away from...
How long is the time frame to get from 60% enriched uranium to weapons grade? The short answer... You jumped to the words in bold. It works so good on you. Matter of days to roughly 1 or 2 weeks. What's key here is the short answer. There's a lot of other factors necessary to do this, which is why, I don't know. Maybe if you want, let's look to something like historical precedent, because there has been one individual, Benjamin Netanyahu, who has been saying for close to, 30 years now, that Iran is 1 day away from having enriched uranium to the point of being able to develop a nuclear weapon. Well, they're 1 week away, 1 month away, 6 months away, 8 months away, 4 months away, any day, any hour now, right now. They're about to have one. I'm pretty sure they have one. They definitely have one. Well, independent investigations by the UN have shown that they absolutely do not, empirically, do not have nuclear weapons. You know how I know that, even if I don't have UN inspectors? I kind of think if they had nuclear weapons, the United States wouldn't be bombing them. Because they don't do that to nations that have nuclear weapons and start threatening other nations to use those nuclear weapons. It's kind of like the whole Libya versus North Korea example.
From a nuclear weapon. It's amazing how many years,
Sam, that is
for decades, I've been hearing that.
Sam, they had 60% enriched uranium. It takes... Literally,
By the way, she already admitted earlier in this debate, and it directly contradicts herself here, that they did not, in fact, have weapons of mass destruction and nuclear bombs, because Sam said out loud, if they had nuclear bombs, I don't think we would have bombed them. And she's like, that's true. It's like, okay, what are we doing here?
Answer is a matter of days to roughly 1 to 2 weeks. And I did speak to somebody from the CIA. No, okay. All right. How long is the time frame to get from...
Oh my God, she didn't even let the ending take place. She's going right back to, I learned something else based on definitely not AI Google search. The short answer is a matter of days. The short answer. Do you know how many other factors are necessary? And Sam's completely right. Like, I mean, I shit on Obama all the time. Fuck Obama. But it's, indisputably one of the good things that he did under his administration, as well as opening up better dialogue with Cuba, but unfortunately not doing what is necessary there. Attempting, if not failing, but attempting to increase the amount of uninsured Americans who have access to healthcare. Things like that. Those are the things where, yeah, okay, fine. If you want to have an honest discussion, those are the things that I think in the totality of that war criminal, because Obama's absolutely a war criminal, the fucking drone strike king, he did some good things. And one of them was the Iran deal, in which the United States was going to stop universally treating Iran like a pariah state where they can do nothing but evil. And by definition, every other country that ever wants to have any economic interactions with the United States has to avoid at all costs keeping them a pariah state, which perpetually is going to keep them, if they want to have defensive measures, in a perpetuity of any given day we could be attacked by Israel. Any given day we could be attacked by the United States. We're not entirely sure what their plans are, because on one president he'll give us a deal, the next president comes along and rips that deal up, rendering it useless. Like, if that's something you legitimately were terrified about, you're like, I just really, really don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I stay up all night thinking about what if Iran had a nuclear weapon. It's like, well, there were solutions in this case.
特别鸣谢以下执行制片人 Political Puppy Multi-Monday Riley and Anna Omni Kid 185 Kikwik Scalar Dean Dot Kadio Hackbot Celine Everything Important Ward Springwood Sebastian Demo Roller Dragon Bobby Lasers Enter Cat Soul Car